intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode, much overdue episode, might I add, of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. How we doing, Nano?
You're doing fantastic, brother. It is great to see you. Can't believe we are already in the month of July. We just celebrated America's birthday. Happy birthday, everybody. Great to see you, man. I'm doing fantastic, though, brother.
Happy birthday to Captain America, folks. His birthday is celebrated on July 4th.
Let's go. That's it, baby. That's it. We celebrated. We popped off, and now we're going to pop off today because we have a lot to cover, baby. A lot of fireworks.
Really do.
Man, a lot to go into. Can't wait, man. It's been too long.
Too long. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a dope podcast. Step two. For those of you that don't know Aaliyah. No, but real talk, it has been some time, folks. We have had just busy lives. And I mean, we went to Vegas for UFC International Fight Week. Let's go. Oh, let's hit that a couple times. Let's go, folks. Let's go. And you know, as the Mesopotamians once said, gee wee-wees. Folks, we had a fucking hell of a time. It was a great time. That was obviously a joke. I don't think the Mesopotamians ever said that. But I digress. Maybe a couple of homies back in those times did say that. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I digress. I'll tell you where I was, though. At UFC International Fight Week, aka UFC X, the best fan experience in the world. We got to meet a myriad of fighters, including but not limited to my favorite fighter of all time, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. We're going to get into all of this, plus what we thought of the UFC 303 fight card. In just a moment, we're going to break down our picks, how those picks did. Not all of them won. Spoiler alert, it happens. And also who we got to meet, our favorite experiences, maybe our least expected experiences at UFC X, and overall, just kind of our experience in a nutshell and what we hope to see next year. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into UFC X before we open it up to UFC 303 results. Nano, this was your first time at UFC X. And I got to say, I feel like what a time it was. For the fans listening right now at home, what would you say was your just overall greatest moment at UFC X?
Yeah, brother, the 30th anniversary here, UFC X, the Comic-Con of UFC, everything related there was kind of how you can maybe label it or look at it. But it was a fun experience, man. Worth every penny. I think for me, going in, the expectation was, hey, I'm going to be able to see a lot of fighters, going to be surrounded by like-minded individuals, going to be in Vegas, going to be with some of my favorite people, my boy MMAnomaly here, the missus, his better half. No offense. You all know that, obviously. She's the magic that makes this all happen here. But
I know that.
And then our boy Drewski as well. Drew, great to see him. Great to catch up. Quality time.
Speaking of Rich, real quick. And I know we're not going to do it justice because, I mean, come on. We're not Nina drama, but happy birthday to Drew. Happy birthday to Drew. Happy birthday to Drew. Happy birthday to Drew.
Let's go.
It is his actual birthday today. Shout out to Nina Drama for obviously doing a much better job. But sorry for cutting you off. You mentioned him, so I had to sing happy birthday.
Had to, man. Yeah, literally singing happy birthday. That was a big highlight. Definitely one of the unprecedented moments, great experiences that I had was that Nina drama encounter. But to backtrack a little bit, overall opinion was that, again, it was a really fun event. Definitely going to be going back. And now I think one thing we noticed from even day 1 to day 2 was like, okay, kind of have a better expectation of how things run. You know, the importance of trying to get in there early, knowing where things are. That first day was a little tougher because it's like, hey, we got to find these venues or spots where people conjugating. And so that by that second day, it was like, okay, we know where we're going. We know what fighters we want to try to see. We understand this whole getting in the virtual line. I guess for the layman's people, maybe think of it as like a fast pass kind of scenario where it's okay, we got to get in. We got to try to divvy our time the best way possible. And that second day, we definitely maybe divided and conquered a little bit more. But again, all to say, like even starting on Thursday, before we got to do the fan expo and everything, UFC X, getting to do the press conference was absolutely electrifying. We got to get really close up in the front row. If we were any closer, we would have MMA media passes, essentially. So got about as close as we can get. Maybe eventually we'll get over those barriers here as we grow. Hopefully, thanks to y'all here in the community. But, man, was that a fun experience? Felt like Alex, Pajeda, Chama got the biggest pop for sure. MVP got a really big pop, I remember. And then I think the second largest pop of the day was Ian Gary's boos. The amount of boos this man was getting, definitely polarizing in that sense. But it was really fun to be close to the production stage, see behind the scenes, seeing those first face-offs. The UFC Hall of Fame ceremony was pretty fun, a little bit slower than I think we're used to, right? Especially coming from the press conference where people are talking crap, you're yelling, you're boozed up. The ceremony was a little bit more, as it says, ceremonial. So some longer speeches, things like that. But it was really fun to see the likes of a Joanna Jacek, Frankie Edgar, Chael Sonnen, Shogun Hua getting some praise. It was a really fun event for all those reasons. But kind of talked about the lead up there. Did you want to cover anything about Thursday before we jump into Friday, Saturday in a little more detail?
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a great job just summing everything up, if I'm being completely honest. And, for those of you at home, if you feel, maybe intimidated trying to say Joanna Jędrzejczyk, you can just say Joanna Violence. She's happy with that name.
I like that.
So, yeah, you can use that one for the ones at home. I think you did a great job summing everything up. The overall vibe of the media day, or rather the press conference, as you said, I think Ian Gary, the loudest sounds we heard across the entirety were the boos for Ian Gary. And at one point there was a chant, and I almost don't even want to say it, but there was literally a cuck chant across the stadium. And that was like kind of impressive, lightweight. So, it's almost like Kurt Angle levels of bad guy. So it's a good kind of bad guy. He's not to the level of X-Pac yet, right? Like he's not giving X-Pac heat to where it's like not a good version of the bad guy. Like you're still turning heel. You're still putting asses in seats. That's all that matters. If you get to the point to where you're such a bad guy that nobody even wants to watch you, now we've kind of crossed the line. We've done something wrong. But it's hard to do that when you're winning in a real sport, right? When we're talking about WWE, like or WWF, WW, what the fuck ever. These are scripted fights. X-Pac can win 10 out of 12 fights. And if he's giving off the wrong heat, he's giving off the wrong heat. Ian Gary can give off the wrong heat all day, but if he's fucking undefeated, with all due respect, kid, you don't have to like him. You're going to watch. I say this confidently because, hey, spoiler alert, I don't like him, but I still watch. So, this is, this is how it goes, right? I can't deny these things. It's kind of like Conor McGregor. I was never a fan of his mouthpiece. But God, I was always a fan of what he was able to go into the octagon and do. So I'm going to watch Ian Gary up until the moment that he loses. And then I'm still probably going to continue watching because he's done enough at that point. Again, you did a really good job of just kind of encompassing everything that we got to see in that Thursday. I will say when it comes to the Hall of Fame, you did say that it was a bit slower paced than we were, typically attuned to when it comes to mixed martial arts because, we're fucking, it's almost like today's demographic, right? Like clickbait, right? We need the sizzle. We need the reel. We need the sizzle reel. And let me tell you, my guy, it was a snooze fest for a tiny little bit. I actually got a nice picture I'll have to share with you sometime of you sleeping during the Hall of Fame. I was going to say, I don't know if I sent it to you or not. Okay, I'll see.
I thought you were going to pull it up. I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to show it on the show. Maybe on Twitter later. Make sure you follow us.
There you go.
But no, there's a lot of good moments to see there, but you did fall asleep for a quick moment, but it was a good time to fall asleep, right? It was a very long-winded speech. I will tell you one moment where not this guy and not any fucking buddy in the entire presser was even so much as blinking their eyes closed. That's when Chael P. Sonnen was out there just being every bit of an original gangster, folks. If there's a fighter that I just want to buy a shot of alcohol, it's Chael P. Sonnen. I mean, the dude is definitely a gangster. He brought the entire crowd back to life. He saved that event, so to speak. I mean, he was the Alex Pineda to the UFC Hall of Fame this year. Hands down. He saved the event when it looked like maybe it was falling apart. So good for him. Love to see him there. And to my knowledge, he did actually let Wanderlei Silva get a bit close backstage, but not too close. Can't let him get too close. Nano, how was Friday?
Love it, brother. Love it. Yeah, man. So that was a fun day. And to my point, that's why I insinuated it was a long day. Okay. I had to catch up on some Z's. I digress. Friday was phenomenal, man. Day one of UFC X, definitely full of nerves, right? Some excitement. We're walking into this huge expo space, not really knowing what to expect, but certainly excited as all hell. I knew there's going to be a lot of UFC fans. Knew there's going to be different attractions like photo ops. There was little giveaways. And obviously meeting a ton of the fighters. It was really, really cool. I think a couple of the major highlights, like you mentioned here, to start off with our boy Chael Sonnen, the original gangsta out of Washington. He was really cool. We actually went by their set. He's doing this thing. He's doing his media circuit, and then get a chance to quick knuckle bump him. That was really fun, unexpected. And then in that same encounter, you and I got to exchange words. I also got a signature, got the John Hancock from the one, the only Dustin Diamond Poirier, future Hall of Famer. Had to let him know he has the best hot sauce in the game. That was something I want to make sure he knew and told him to keep it up. And you had a good exchange with him as well. Won't take the shine away from you. I'll let you elaborate on that for yourself there. But that was definitely a highlight. Meeting Nina Drama, a little bit unexpected, and just honestly like one of the most genuine, nice interactions I've ever had with someone. Let alone like, quote unquote, like, let's say a UFC celebrity, right? I mean, let's call it what it is. And yeah, just an awesome, like, influencer, awesome, like, personality. Like we said, she's saying, like, literally saying Marilyn Monroe style, happy birthday for our boy Drew. She posed with us, did pictures. She was choking out. I think I'd seen her choke out maybe like 10 different people. Like MMAnomaly being one of them. So that was really fun. Great exchange. And then some of the fighters, right? So our guy, Randy Rude Boy Brown, fan of the podcast. If you're ever tuning in, brother, appreciate you. Go follow him on all his socials. Go check out the Tiny Desk UFC picks. Go check
Seriously, some of my favorite fucking UFC pick videos of all time.
Yeah, man. He is fantastic. And the best thing about it, too, is like we kind of had like a moment, not to sound, too homoerotic here, but like where I felt like he looked at us and was like I think he sees us. Like it was kind of an extra second where like you can kind of see it click in his head. Then as soon as we walk up, say hi, tell him we're MMAnomaly, he like kind of has that click moment. Yep, I thought I recognized you guys. And I was like, okay, my feeling was confirmed. You're the man, Rude Boy. So appreciate you there, brother, making us feel seen, I guess, and just stay cool, brother. Like honestly, good exchange. I saw the way he was interacting with everyone. It's really warmed my heart. I think it's like he's just a fucking cool guy. Another guy that really surprised me as well was Yusuf Salah, man. That guy was freaking hilarious. Absolutely nothing but big energy on the stage. It was infectious. It was a really cool exchange as well. He made a fan out of me. And then Chris Weidman, man, just classy as it gets. He was really, really cool also. And then ending all that off, that long, busy, crazy day with the ceremonial weigh-in. I mean, man, you could feel the energy in there. MVP and Ian Gary, that aggressive stare down, seeing Yuri and Alex just stoic in front of each other again really set the tone for that night too. But has Olin's either frozen or he's doing the Alex stare down. What were your thoughts? One of my big takeaways from Friday, day one at UFC X. But what were your thoughts, takeaways, or since you've been there before, was it everything you expected or not?
So I'll be honest with you. So the first year that we went, we got VIP tickets, right? And I'll be honest, left a bit to be desired as far as VIP goes. The line wasn't super efficient the first year, and a number of other things. But that being said, I digress. I had a blast, Nano. It was a great fucking time the year one. But going back year two, obviously looking at the ticket costs, they went from $595 to $1,000. It's quite a fucking hike per person. So I didn't feel like maybe it was the right play to get VIP tickets for all of us for this year, just considering what I had seen last year. Now, when we got there this year, I will tell you, it was about night and day difference. The VIP tickets did seem to get you a lot. In my opinion, it seems like you were probably able to meet all 4 stages of fighters every day if you wanted to, if you had VIP tickets, because of the way that they were staggering in the lines. So with that being said, I mean, did it live up to everything I wanted it to? Yes, because I didn't get us VIP tickets, and I feel like we got more than we paid for. Did I feel like kind of got cheated year one to year two from the VIP experience? Yeah, absolutely. That being said, brother, you're not getting married again next year. God fucking forbid.
Right. I know it.
So you know, this is the one.
Oh yeah,
we're going VIP next year.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the only maybe asterisk now is depending on the actual calendar date. If they decide to move it back or something, now we're dealing with anniversaries, which is hard to pitch that one. And I'm in sales. That's a tough pitch to try to deal with. Hopefully not. Being facetious here, I'm sure we'll be fine. But they're, you know,
they won't. It's always been the first week of July.
Yeah, like right in that. June,
you should be good.
I have that.
You'll basically it'll be your fucking anniversary reminder. It'll be your 1 month buffer, brother.
That's right. And yeah, brother, it's fun time. And to your point, I think to let people know when we're talking about the stages and meeting fighters. So there were 3 main stages that had 4 fighters on each stage. Did they change time throughout the day? So I think there's maybe a first. No,
so it was 10:30 a.m. and then 2:30 a.m. for the second slot, or sorry, 2:30 p.m. for the second slot. So you have 3 stages, and to my knowledge, like with the VIP pass this past year, or rather this year, I feel like you were probably able to get in there and meet all of them.
So that's the thing. Yeah, you're going from meeting 4 fighters to 12 within, you know, that same 2-3 hour time span that we were waiting in one line.
So you're really going from 8 to 24.
Yeah. And if you're getting things signed, if you're a true fan in the truest sense there, like those things are so invaluable, really cool.
Worth it.
Like, yeah, really, really fun.
Every penny.
And to the point of, yeah, I mean, to pay double what you'd get, I guess, again, you might be getting 2x, 3x, maybe the experience in that sense. So, hey, something to think about. If you got it, I'd say it does certainly worth the consideration. It's worth the thought, maybe worth the extra budgeting, because again, to your point, so much fun. Even the what was the VIP lounge area they had designated, and that ends up having fighters as well that they don't even list. Like last year, we got to meet 5 fighters that weren't even listed. We met Chito Vera, we met Andrei Arlovsky, Drew Dober. We met there were literally 5 fighters, and like they were right there. They were holding the belt with you. Like you got to just pose with them. And then it was sick. Yeah, and all the other fighters, like there were individual fighters that would be at certain booths or areas for X amount of hours, and those would tend to be really long lines. Dustin Poirier, a good example of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was the VIP able to cut some of those lines as well, or was there like a separate VIP line, or was that maybe just like one off, like kind of? That was just for the stages. So the stages had VIP lines, to my knowledge. I don't think the meet and greets did. I think the meet and greets were just like that was just first solo lines. Okay. Now for the Dustin Poirier thing, I will tell the viewers there are probably anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people that are very upset about me getting to skip the line and take a picture with Dustin Poirier. I will tell you, I spent a shit ton of money and went and sat cage side like 3.5-4 weeks before then.
to watch Dustin Poirier fight and what I thought was going to be his final fight in the fucking UFC or in mixed martial arts in general. So while I was there, I saw the Bud Light Genie and I shot my shot, folks. This is what you do, right? Like when you have a podcast, when you're a fan in general, like if you see the opportunity to cut a promo, Uncle Chael will tell you 10 out of 10 times, 12 out of 10 times. You cut that fucking promo, kid. So I turned my phone on video mode. I walked up to the Bud Light Genie and I was like, hey, Bud Light Genie, I need to make a wish. And he's like, all right, what you got? And their video camera crew started recording me, and I wished that Dustin Poirier won the belt. And then we cut a hell of a fucking promo together after that. And because of this, I'm standing in line. I'm like 10 rows back. And this is like maybe an hour after the line opened, maybe like an hour and a half before it closes. And their marketing guy walks up and he's like, hey, you were in Newark, New Jersey, right? And I was like, I was. And he's like, you did a promo with the Bud Light Genie. Good shit. And literally we chatted it up. He remembered me from cutting a promo with them then. And he came back and he found me 5 minutes before the line closed. He's like, hey, I know how much of a fan of Dustin Poirier you are. You cut a nice promo with us. Since you worked with us before, let's work with you. And he helped me out. He brought me up to the front of the line. And it was literally like the coolest shit that's probably ever happened to me my entire life. Shout out to McKee from Bud Light. You are the real Bud Light Genie, because on that day, you genuinely made a wish come true for this kid. I got to meet my favorite fighter of all time. It was a beautiful exchange. I just so happened to actually get lucky enough to chat with him for like a few seconds the day before, right after he wrapped up that podcast with Chael Sonnen on Friday. And Lily walked up and we fist bumped, and I told him straight up, I was like, hey, us dudes from Louisiana aren't supposed to make it to Vegas. And he started laughing and he said, where are you from? And I said, well, I have family from Lafayette, which I do. Shout out Aunt Sarah, Aunt Brenda, etc. Got a lot of family from that area. And he's like, you still have family out there? And I was like, my mom's in Bossier. And we fist bumped it out. And he was just a nice dude. He was a genuine person. And he was every bit of the guy that you see him be on TV, which is just refreshing as all get out, right? Like, he's not playing a character. He's the dude that started the Good Fight Foundation. He's the guy that when you check his license, it still says Lafayette, Louisiana. And 10 out of 10 times, if you're stuck on the side of the road, if you need the shirt off his back, he'll give you that. If you need help changing your tire, he's going to be there on his knees helping you do that too. He's just all around a good dude. He's a class act. And as I told him in person on Saturday, when I did get my like few seconds to chat with him at the meet and greet, again, shout out McKee from Bud Light. I really appreciate it. As I told him then, like, you've done more than enough for the sport of mixed martial arts. If you never fight again, I appreciate the memories that you've given us. You've done more than enough. But if you do, can't wait to have no voice the day after, because I'll be fucking screaming all day Saturday. Thank you, Dustin Poirier, for all the memories. Thank you, McKee, for giving me the chance to meet the guy. And thank you, Bud Light, for putting the whole thing on at UFC X. And honestly, just overall, thank you for all the fighters. Like, there were so many really beautiful moments, right? Like, getting to meet Jason Anik and him saying, I know exactly who the fuck you are. Like, that was, honestly, that made my whole year. I could have a shit year for the rest of the year, and God, I'm not fucking telling you to give me one, but if I did, like, that was a pretty cool fucking moment, and I'd latch on to that for happiness. And then Randy Rude Boy Brown, like, you know, when you see someone staring at you, or you feel someone staring at you at a party or at the airport, like, you can feel it, right? Like, Randy, like, looked at me like 3-4 times, and I'm like, is he looking at me? I get up there and he's like, man, were you here last year? And I was like, I was, but you've joined my podcast a couple times. I'm MMAnomaly. And then literally, like, we like hugged it out. He's like, dude, my guy. Like, it was just a fucking cool moment. And it's just really incredible to see these people that we think are larger than life, like celebrities in this sport, and they're just treating you like one of the homies. There's something really special to that, and you don't get that in many other sports, in my opinion. So thank you to the fighters. Thank you to UFC. Thank you to the vendors that put this event on. I think it's just an absolutely incredible event. If you're a fight fan, at the very least, I think you got to go to get general admission at least one time in your life. And if you can splurge, you got to check out the VIP, man.
Yeah, I love it, brother. Couldn't agree more with you. Definitely some special moments. And this was all just day one, ladies and gentlemen. This is all just on Friday, okay? Had to run it back. Got to meet even more people. That's the second day. We don't need to continue to dive too deep into it. But Brendan Allen was a treat for me personally. Then the other guy that surprised me got to wait in his line. It was very short, so me and Drew were at the very front. And it was Alexandre Pantoja. Really, really cool guy. He's a current champion, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I think that's a big deal. Not often you get to meet someone that's at that highest level in their sport, in their weight class. So I admire that a lot. And the one thing that was really cool was that Alexandre, after I go up, and to your point earlier about like showing appreciation for these fighters and their time, I made sure to tell every single person I met, hey, thank you so much for your time. Like, we all appreciate it. Like, hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having fun. Like, hope you have a great day, whatever it is. Try to make sure I was mindful of like letting them know. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Like, that's the most important thing for these individuals that are training, that have this as a profession, that have so many things, so many obligations, you know, their days mapped out by the minute. So again, back to Alexander Pantoja, current champion. Honestly, it made me shit bricks because not only did he have a nice fun exchange with me, but when I thought we were done, he said, face off with me, brother. Face off. And I was like, oh, shoot, okay. And I get in, I was wearing a hat, and he's like, take off the hat. I know. So I'm like, oh, shoot, okay. Take off the hat, lean in a little bit. And I am standing over him a little bit and was kind of, you know, maybe looking down or whatever. But he immediately, as we lock eyes for a second, we get in close. He just like very quietly, very stoically, very scarily just says, you have nothing for me, boy. You got nothing. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. That's the scariest thing I've ever said. He's like, you got nothing for me. It's like, I don't know what he said. Something else, but I was just like, oh, whoa.
You got nothing for me, boy.
You got nothing for me. You're nothing. You're nothing to me. And I was like, oh, God, okay. Then Ryder immediately breaks character, laughs, embraces me. We get the bro hug going, and then I go about my Cheerio day. But that really made me that much more of a fan of him. Just a nice moment, made it personal. So all that was badass. Meeting Gilbert Burns is really fun as well. I'm actually appreciative that the person taking the photo got like a good snapshot of like the whole interaction. So it's like, get the dap up, get the bro punch, and then as I'm leaving, I'm telling him like, hey, I'm a big fan of the podcast, like keep it up, brother, you're going to the top. And he laughs, and you see him kind of like, oh, nice, man. You know, so that's good reaction from, in my opinion. Like you mentioned, again, to see Jason Anik, I just saw him walking around. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but if you see Jason Anik's video on YouTube or on Instagram or the X, he makes a joke about how he was kind of trolling people that thought he was his twin brother, John Anik, the voice of UFC. And he had a fun time with that as well. So the fact that
I watched him sign his brother's name for two guys in front of me.
Oh, that's hilarious. And then
they made him pull out his ID because they didn't believe that he had a twin.
I mean,
it's comedic.
That's it's of epic proportions. I mean, that's the tough one, right? Because it's like he is familiar, but it's like you don't always see John Anik's face. I mean, obviously you do, but it's like he's behind the scenes technically. So totally get it. Obviously, if you know, you know. But yeah, man, fun time. The power slap little event, all the photos, the face-offs, going into the octagon, doing the walkout. I think the only thing we didn't do that would have been cool just to maybe have a little more time was get like a hand wrapped or something. But honestly,
or the weigh-in.
Like, the weigh-in was the other.
We'll do that next year.
We'll definitely do the weigh-in
before Texas de Brazil.
Yeah, I'll make sure. Yeah, day one, I'll make sure to be prepared for a weight class. But yeah, man, it was a blast, brother. I don't know if you have any other highlights on Saturday or. Well, I guess we even talked through that watching the event. Went out to Twin Peaks. Some amazing food, amazing time, amazing service, and then some amazing fights, brother. We met up with one of the homies in our community. So again, through MMA, through social media, just there we go. There it is.
We had to get it signed, folks. We had to get this signed by the legend Brendan All In Allen, folks, because you know he's going to wear these gloves in the near future. He's going to be a UFC champ. It's just it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And if you're trying to make out this little autograph at the top, that's another former champion, Frankie, the Answer, Edgar. What a guy. Nice. Honestly, everybody we met was just class. Top to bottom, zero complaints. I feel like all these folks were just extremely nice people. I had a great time. got a really nice amount of merch. I think I got like the perfect amount of merch to not be upset at myself. Right.
Nice.
Shout out the shirt I'm wearing. Definitely something I got there.
There you go.
The only thing that I didn't get that I wanted to get was the white International Fight Week 2024 shirt. I told myself I was going to get that every year. Fucking somehow forgot to grab one this year. I think I got you one last year.
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Like,
I know. I should have worn that.
And
one.
we were both there this year. I don't think
weapon.
fucking either one of us got one. What happened here, guys?
I did get a shirt, but it was a Pride shirt, which I guess I'll have it as memoir.
Same.
Amy got some official shorts, but no, I did not get a IFW tee. But
we'll have to see if they're selling them online and cop some of those.
That's right.
But I
digress.
digress.
The 5-pass fanny pack to confirm it. So,
dude, this guy got the ultimate hookup with the Fight Pass fucking fanny pack. I did get a pack of cards while we were there. Haven't opened those up yet. So who knows? Maybe we got an auto in there. That'd be nice.
There we go.
Folks, I feel like it was just an absolutely incredible time. I'm saving up starting today, so that way next year I'm sitting, whether it's cage side or low box seats, I'm going to the fights. Or I'm just hoping Connor's not on the fucking card. You know what I'm saying? As long as Connor's not on the card, it'll be obtainable seats.
That's fair.
So fair. VIP and decent tickets. That's the move. Either way, folks, we're not here just to gush and talk about our experience with meeting these fighters and these folks. We're here to break down some fights. And we did have one hell of a fight card for UFC 303. So we are going to jump into that right now. So at the bottom of the card, we had bantamweights, Ricky Simón coming in against Vinicius Oliveira. What a fucking fight. Nano. I'm going to let you take the lead here, my guy. What were your thoughts on this opening bout of UFC 303? Did it live up to the hype? And also, did you get it right?
Well, I don't know if you meant to rhyme there, but brother, this was a fun one. Bantamweight division here. Ricky Simon, a legend, a staple in the division here. Unfortunately, that was who I was leaning. I thought he was going to be able to use that veteran pedigree to get the job done. But no, man, Vinicius is a vicious opponent, brother. This guy, Oliveira, find out of Brazil. When you hear that name, must be trouble. Don't want to get in the ring with that guy. Not an Oliveira from Brazil, okay? No, thank you. But now, man, in all seriousness, he showed some really, really unique, fun, and dominant striking. And he was able to stuff 9 takedowns for my boy Ricky Simón and able to get one of his own. So all to say, brother, he even hit him with a really fancy leg kick that hasn't been thrown in a long time. I don't know if you remember it, but it's like a reverse sort of leg whip, I guess you can call it. But, man, fun striker, talented, young. Just beat who I would consider a staple again in the division, a low-key legend, maybe as kind of a soft way of saying he's someone he's been around for a long time, man. Well, beat a lot of good fighters. This is a big name, and I think gives Vinicius a lot of confidence going forward here. Might be a problem for the bantamweight boys. What did you think, brother?
I think that was a great breakdown, Nano. I think he is a huge problem for the bantamweight division is Vinicius Oliveira. The guy outlanded his opponent 2-1, 96-44, landing at a 40% clip on both total strikes and significant strikes, 96 of 237 on both. And he went 1 for 1 on takedowns, Nano, making his opponent go 2 for 11. Now, making somebody like Ricky Simón go less than 20% on takedown accuracy that's a feat in itself. When you go 100% on yours and you make the kid kind of look silly, that's saying a whole lot. My gosh. Brother, I thought this was just a vastly impressive performance from Vinicius Oliveira. I thought he did a great job at stuffing 9 out of 11 takedowns from Ricky Simón, and also just making Simón miss over half of his strikes. He was there and then he wasn't, right? Very in and out of the pocket, landing strikes at range, utilizing his distance at every moment of the fight. This Vinicius kid is dangerous. He is going to be a problem for a lot of the bantamweight division. My question to you, Nano, is do you have anybody tip of your tongue or who should be next for young Vinicius Oliveira?
I don't, brother. I don't. I think at this point he is still a bit, still a spring chicken. Okay, he's not fully developed yet. I think I need to see a little bit more from him. I always use the barrier of, okay, is he able to go out and meet, or let me rephrase that. Is he someone that can go up and face someone in the top 15? Number 15 right now is Pedro Munoz. I guess he could. I mean, Ricky Simon's close to that kind of caliber, but I still think there's a little bit of a jump still. I think I'd like to see maybe one more win, maybe with another top 25 guy. Again, no one on the top of my head, but I certainly am very excited to see this guy get back in there as soon as possible. Do you have anyone on your mind there in terms of matchups here for a VO for show?
You know, I think if we're talking about who makes the most sense for Loke Dog to fight next, if he's willing to fight down because nobody's willing to fight him up, maybe Jonathan Martinez would be a good matchup for him. I think that would just be stylistically a really fun one. You got a nice boxer with leg kicks versus a nice kind of well-rounded fighter with leg kicks. So sign me up for that one. If nobody in the top 15 is willing to take on the fight, he doesn't have a number next to his name, so I get it. But that's the one ultimately that I'd like to see. Moving into the next fight, we had Rey Saruya coming in against Carlos Hernandez. Man, oh man, oh man. This Rey Saruya guy has so much swagger. So much swagger. I mean, the dude at weigh-ins just looked, honestly, like I became a fan of him at weigh-ins because of the amount of swagger that he had. And then on top of that, he had Shinsuke Nakamura from WWE walk him out. Strong style WWE wrestler. Like, dude is very, very fun. Dude has a lot of aura, as the kids say. And he's also got a lot of skills, right? Outlanded his opponent 3-1. Closer to 2-1, actually. It was 26 to 62. But again, the fact that he landed 62 of 83 strikes thrown, I don't know if you're good at math or not, but that's almost a 75% clip of accuracy. In MMA, that's fucking damn near unheard of, unless you're Adesanya fighting a can. Folks, like that's, I mean, the accuracy was accurate on Saturday night. 17 of 32 significant strikes also landed, so 53% there. And he also landed 3 of 8 takedowns. So looked really solid against a very game Carlos Hernandez, who did not come to mess around. Someone else who was looking very accurate, right? 26 to 45 of his total strikes versus landed strikes, and then 16 of 32 significant strikes, so right at the 50% mark there. Both of these guys were not really wasting a lot of energy, if we're being honest. They were throwing, hands, but again, they weren't throwing the most significant strikes. Like again, 17 of 62 were significant, and then 16 of 26 were significant. Carlos Hernandez obviously threw much less volume overall across the distance, and that's why he lost the fight. I did have the Swagger King himself, Mr. Rey Saruya, winning this fight. And I mean, again, Shinsuke Nakamura walking him out. The dude at weigh-ins, he looked really, really fresh. He did not look like somebody, in my opinion, that was making their UFC debut. And maybe that has something to do with the fact that he did have 3 fights en road to UFC, but still, like it's much different. And he improves to 9-0. The dude is undefeated, 10-0 now. I look forward to seeing what happens next for him. Nano, were you impressed with Saruya? And if so, what do you think should be next for the young man?
Yeah, brother, I was really impressed with the very, very young man, right? And Rey Saruya here at 22 years young, went in there, beat Carlos Hernandez, a grown man. Yeah, brother. Yeah. And you don't see it often, right? You know, is he going to get that same Raul Rosas Jr. treatment? Not sure, but I do think that, Japan is ready and hungry for a young up-and-comer, a prodigy, a dude to come out and just have the backing of an entire country like Japan. I wouldn't be surprised, man. You never know. Nowadays, he's undefeated, right? He did look really good. He has that swagger. I don't know if he's ready for a top 15 guy. I mean, I do think this flyweight division, love Pantoja, but I do think it's top heavy. I think the bottom 10 to 15, maybe can be replaced with some of these young guys. Get some new young blood in there. Why not, right? You're never too young, right? I mean, John Jones didn't become a legend by waiting to get his title shot. If the kid's ready at 21, 22 years old, you give the kid a shot. why the hell not, right? And so someone like a David Dvorak, the Undertaker, who just lost to Steve Ursig, who fought for the title against Pantoja not too long ago. He fought back in June. Is he looking to maybe wipe that loss from his record here and try to get back in there, cleanse the palate against a young up-and-comer? Maybe. Or, again, he's 22. We could play devil's advocate here, and I wouldn't mind maybe seeing another fight with a young up-and-comer. Kind of like an early Connor Dustin kind of scenario there, where it's just like, hey, two guys that are going to be staples here for a long time, might meet again later, but let's see who's the better out of the two and give them that next level, right? We'll unlock the gate for them, see if they could crack the top 15 at that point. Wouldn't be mad at it, but no name specifically top of mind. Again, he is young. That was his UFC debut, like you mentioned. Although he does have a lot of aura, a lot of riz. Just need to prove it a little bit more. Maybe another win or two. And if he can do it in a dominant fashion, then anything can happen at that point. What you think, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's ready necessarily for the top 15 rankings, but I am looking forward to seeing what's next for him. I mean, Carlos Hernandez is not the craziest test in the UFC that we have to offer, but he is a test, right? He's a higher step up in competition than what we've seen Reyes Arruya fight thus far. And I'm here for it. I'm here to see what he's got next in his tank. Again, not top 15 ready yet, but maybe like someone right outside the top 25, top 30. Stacked division though for the young man. He's gonna have a tough time cutting through. Moving into the next fight, we had a heavyweight bout. Got a pair of retirements coming up here, folks. We had Andre Arlovsky coming in against Martin Buday. This is the best Martin Buday I've ever seen. And even so, Andre still looked pretty good in there at 58 years old. I'm kidding. Andre Arlovsky is not 58 years old. He is, he's not the youngest man in the world. He is 45.
I would say 45, yes. Close.
But I digress. I mean, he landed 98 strikes, 74 of which were significant. If you look across the octagon, his opponent, Martin Buday, 165 landed, 54 significant. A 45-year-old went out there and outlanded you on significant strikes. And you're 32 years old. It's tough. That's tough. He did hang him up in the UFC. He said that this is it for him in the UFC. He said, this ends my UFC story, but I don't know that this is the end of the total story. So with that being said, do you think he goes to PFL or bare knuckle?
Oh my God. Probably PFL. I hope not bare knuckle. That's crazy. His nose is too busted up for all that. What do you think, brother?
Oh man. I think he goes to bare knuckle. I'd rather see him go to PFL, but I think he goes to bare knuckle because we oftentimes don't get what we want. Yeah. You're muted. He hit it. Oh.
Double muted. I double muted.
The double mute! The double mute!
I was like, why is my button not working?
It happened!
It's the double.
The double mute was so good, you made me air dick.
Sheesh.
I'm on double mute.
Yeah, double dick. Damn. Come on. You're really excited. Yeah, brother. What I was saying was Andre is certainly a tough enough son of a gun. And I think he trusts his abilities to maybe get into that bare knuckle ring. I could even see him do boxing, to be honest. Wouldn't be surprised. I'd rather see that. To be honest, he's a legend in my book. He's one of my favorite fighters from back in the day in terms of just his violence, the way he looked, the way his character played on UFC 1 and 2. Yeah, I just feel like at this point, what else do you have to prove? Right? You fought over 50 times, I believe. You're 45 years old. You know, unless PFL is going to back up the Brinks truck, maybe you have a couple specialized fights, I guess. 45, I suppose. So be it. I don't know. How old is LeBron James? That just got me thinking. Oh, he's 39. Yeah, I mean, listen. He's grown. He can do what he wants to do, but I would prefer to see Andre just go off into the sunset. And maybe stick around the UFC. That'd be cool. Can never have too many people just like in or around the sport still after, but I could see PFL. At least I would prefer that versus the other solutions that you mentioned there. Because again, from a fighting perspective, I don't know how much juice he has left. I mean, he's tough as all nails, but it's like,
well, if he goes to another promotion, a lot more juice than he has in the UFC.
he's the guy. I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely that too. Jeez.
Gee wee wees. With that being said, we have another retirement. We're not going to match make for Martin Bidet. I mean, it was a well enough fought fight, but I mean, he beat a 45-year-old Andrei Arlovsky, who's had 40 fucking fights in the UFC. So I digress. Speaking of someone who's been around the block, speaking of someone who's paid their dues, Michelle, the karate hottie, Waterson. Tough night. It was tough because both people that retired took the L, took the hard L. They took the hard road, they took the hard path. They took the path less traveled. Karate hottie. She was one of the people that was fighting the first time that I got to sit cage side at fights. So it's tough. That being said, she went out there and she gave it an admirable shot, landing 41 of 75 strikes at a 54.7% clip, 21 of which were significant. It just wasn't enough for Jillian Robertson, who has the second reddest hair I've ever seen in MMA. Shout out Randa Marcos for the first reddest. Man, Jillian had an answer for her everywhere she went. 122 strikes to 41, 77 to 21, 122 to 41 on total strikes, 77 to 21 on significant strikes. Michelle Waterson's takedowns did look good. She landed 1 of 1, but the control wasn't there. Jillian Robertson was just able to do whatever she wanted on the ground, right? When she did decide to take her down, it was control time. It was tough. It was tough to see. As a Michelle Waterson fan. Nano, I'm going to pass it to you. What stood out to you, if anything? Did this fight go exactly as you saw it going? I mean, I got to be honest, nothing really surprised me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you mentioned, brother. I agree wholeheartedly. I'll double tap there. Definitely want to give Michelle Waterson Gomez her flowers. She's a legend. I could tell you were holding back your tears there. I think you still are now. It's okay. I'll get you a tissue, brother. I'm with you here. I'll talk you through it. Okay, because the reality is she did look great. And she's a great representation for female fighters all over the world. For the UFC, I think she'd be a great ambassador. She's probably a great mother. Hope she can continue to maybe focus there. I'm sure, as most fighters know or would tell you, it's like that takes up a lot of your time, energy, everything, your body. So hopefully she can find that next venture for her and find fulfillment and whatever she decides to do, or just to be a mom. Hopefully she has that luxury, because again, she's always been the girl to fight the who's, to never back away from a challenge. I mean, she's never been the biggest girl. In fact, she's probably one of the smaller girls on the entire UFC roster. But she
used to be an atom weight.
Atom weight. That's not even a thing, right? Some of you guys are like, what is atom weight? That's 110 or what, 105?
105.
105.
Closest UFC's ever had is 115. Her last fight was at 125.
Yeah, so she's going to be against some big girls. Again, she's developed well over her career. She's developed her ground game, her wrestling, right? She was a karate mommy, the karate hottie. So you got to appreciate and admire everything about her. But the reality is yeah, she ran into a bigger, tougher, stronger, more determined, younger, more brighter-haired woman. And I'm surprised you didn't give an honorable mention in terms of red hair to our boy Dan Hardy, who was the originator of the red hair and made a statement with the baby. Or Chris Lieben, I guess. Maybe he had red hair at some point. Here we go. There it is. There's some red hair for you, baby. I digress. Yeah, fun matchup. To MMAnomaly's point, was it anything that it was everything that I expected. I did not expect anything different. Hopeful, yes. But Jillian's a beast right now, and she is trending in the right direction. She looks gosh darn good in a division that certainly needs some new contenders, some new faces to go up, and she has moved up 2 spaces at 13 now. Sky's the limit for her. I think you got to just really look at matchups. You got to look at the map, who has a dance partner, who does not. But anybody coming off a win, like a Tabitha Ricci, for example, even a Luana Pinheiro coming off a loss, either of those make sense for Jillian at 13. So 11 or 12, any of those opponents I think would be fun to watch. Maybe even Angela Hill potentially, if you want to give her a nod and see if she's ready for that top 10. I wouldn't be mad at that either. I don't know if you're done crying yet or not, brother, but what do you think?
That was just so beautiful. Man. It's tough. This is a part of the sport, folks. We watch our favorite fighters have to retire. There are 2 people in this sport, in the entire sport of mixed martial arts, that have managed to retire undefeated. I have my notebook here. Just open this up. Those 2 people are Khabib Nurmagomedov and Father Time. That's it. Those are the only 2 people, folks. So, again, it's an unfortunate part of the sport, but I digress. It is what it is. It really is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. I don't really have a next matchup for Jillian Robertson. I just know it has to be someone legitimately ranked in the top 15 of the 115-pound women's division. That's what should be next for her. She's more than earned that spot. Moving into the preliminary fights, we had a real showstopper of an up-and-comer here in Peyton Talbot coming in against Giannis Gimori. I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time talking about this fight, Nano, considering the whole fucking fight itself was 19 seconds. It wasn't anything special. It was one of these. Just a quick 1-2, turned it over right down the pipe. It was nasty. It was just, Muay Thai coaches all around the world, boxing coaches all around the world were harder than a diamond in a snowstorm, folks. It was just great to witness. Picture perfect, very basic, but it landed with purpose, landed with pop. It was not a push. It was a pop. It was a sting. And, he put old Giannis Gimori on his ass. Gave him a very quick paycheck, 19-second paycheck. And he cashed in a second one himself in 19 seconds. He took 13 strikes, mind you. He only threw 13 strikes, 100% clip. That's why I emphasized the 76% clip earlier and how unheard of that was. 100%? Are you kidding me?
The
kid can't fucking miss.
The second one dropped him, and from there, it's easy to hit a wounded duck, let's say. Right?
Goodness.
But
still, 13 of 13 is so nice. It's phenomenal. To see on
Payne's
tape.
legit, man. Payne's legit. He's
So
all every bit of the hype and some. That shuffle step to knock out his opponent. Dude's ready. He's world class. He's got the pizzazz, and he just looks so poised in there. And I think that's the thing that makes him a really scary prospect at this bantamweight division. He's big. He knows how to use his range, and he's all about starting fast, trying to get rid of his opponents. I want to see him challenge, man. I want to see him go up and try to make a run. I don't see why not. Let me see. I was going to say, I don't know how old he is, but as I'm looking at the rankings right now, he's 25. Oh, boy. He can do so much. He's so young. But even Pedro, Jonathan Martinez, these are some guys that, I'd love to see him get in there with. And, Dom Cruz, maybe a little older. Mario
I want to see him get in there with an old dog. I want to see him get in there with someone more his age. I like a Kyler Matrix.
Ooh, that's a great name.
I think he's at number 11, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And he is.
Yeah,
29.
Kyler Phillips is sitting at number 11, bro.
That'd be sick.
Oh, I think that's a money fight. I don't know if the UFC is willing to do that because they're both young kids and they both look good in there, doing their thing. One of them's nickname is the Matrix. The other one fucking makes you feel like you're in the Matrix. So, I feel like it's a money fight, kid.
I love that one. Yeah, I think that's the pick.
I'm bullish on that being the right pick.
Why not? Someone's got to sign the dotted line. I don't know if you're getting the call for Payne Talbot. I don't know if I'm picking up that call.
It's tough. I'm sending it to voicemail, brother.
Yeah.
It's a tough call to answer.
Ask the next guy and then get back to me on it.
Yeah, let me know what the paycheck looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of let me know what the paycheck looks like. Charles Air Jourdain, aka Frenchie from The Boys, if you watch the show, coming against John Silva. What a fight. I mean, John Silva, I don't know if he actually wears prescription glasses, but if not, good for him for the Clark Kent look after the fight. Love to see it. This guy is a character and a half, and he's someone that just looks dangerous throughout these fights. I personally love watching this dude fight, John Silva. So I can't wait to see what's next for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I bet on Charles Jourdain here. And I was wrong. Man. I don't really have a ton else to go over there. I mean, he got outlanded. He got just out everything. And then finally it ended up ending in a TKO from our guy, Jean Silva. So please, Nano, tell the people at home, what was your initial reaction to this? And what were you most surprised by from the young man?
I mean, I'm surprised he had that kind of power, for sure. I definitely, going into it, was leaning Charles Jourdain. Actually had him in some parlays as well, because I am a fan of Charles Jourdain. I think his style is good. Like, it's fun, it's violent, and he's got a lot of skills. But this guy, Gene Silva, man, I think the first impression was the face-off and the weigh-ins. Seeing those types of things, how fighters interact, what the energy is. I try to read into that. And he certainly, I guess, added an extra layer to this fight, in the sense that he came in, was talking crap, got in Charles's face, must have said something to the effect that got Charles pissed off. You see Charles starting to respond or talk back to him, maybe getting under his skin a little bit. So even from that perspective, I think kind of have to give him the nod. He might have won the mental battle leading into the fight, but I stuck with my guns. I thought, Charles is talented. He'll figure a way out. And then on top of that, this guy, Gene Silva, misses weight by 2.5 pounds, which, again, never a great thing. And my thought, too, is this guy's a thick, stout human being for this weight class. I guess is this something that's going to continue to happen? He is a young man still, so don't want to, beat up on John Silva too much here, because he did get the win. But, again, at his age of 27 years old, it's like you shouldn't be missing weight by 2.5 pounds here. This is a big stage, UFC 303. Maybe something happened, or maybe he's like a tweener. But either way, it showed that he had that power in this division, and Charles was just not ready for it. Did not have an answer. And unfortunately, like MMAnomaly mentioned, got hurt in that first round, tried to recover, just wasn't able to fully do that in between rounds, and then took a vicious knee, which was basically a walk-off KO finish for our boy John Silva. Probably could have gotten a bonus for it had he not have missed weight. So this guy not only has sacrificed some of his purse, but he probably also missed out on 50K. So for all that, brother, valuable lesson, expensive lesson. Okay, make weight, because you missed out on probably double, triple what you would have made already. Okay, we're talking 50K. Or no, actually, I think it was a 303K bonus, if I believe. So you missed out on $250,000. $250,000, $303 million. So yeah, man. All to say, John Silva made a fan out of me as well. The last shtick is funny. I like it, I guess. But don't miss weight, and don't keep beating up my favorite guys like Charles Air Jourdain. Okay, no more.
It's not a good way to make fans. Just not a good way to make fans.
But I'm torn, right? You can't keep missing weight. That's
I was gonna say, you are right. I mean, he did miss weight. He did, and he is. I mean, I think you said the words "a thick, stout boy." I think that's pretty fucking accurate. He's a thick, stout boy. It's tough to argue with that. So the fact that he missed weight, he's 27 years of age, like you said, like he's not an old man. He's a young kid in this sport. So you got to be doing better, especially at this point in your career. You just simply have to be doing better, kid. So make the weight. Until then, I don't really want to play matchmaker for this guy. I'll be honest with you. Like, you got to make the weight. I don't even want to say he deserves a top 15 ranked fighter after this because he didn't make the weight. Make the weight.
Yeah.
Then you get a top 15.
It's a nullified point. Like you got a good win. You look tough. Like that was all great things. But, I think
it's like beating the champion after weighing in 3 pounds over. Cool. Great story, kid. You still didn't get the fucking belt because you didn't do your first part of the job, the most important part of the job.
Yeah. And that is the hardest 2.5, 3 pounds is what separates the men from the boys. So
the last 2 to 3 pounds are literally scientifically the hardest fucking pounds to cut. So, with that being said, we have Cub Swanson coming in against Andre Touchy-Feely, folks. Andre Touchy-Feely, we ran into him at the casino afterwards, and noticeably looked very. I mean, initially I thought maybe he looked tired, but then throughout the night I was like, he looked really upset. Like he looked sad. He didn't look happy at all. He didn't look like somebody who just won a fight. Right. And then I don't know if you saw him on the Hawani show, but he said he was depressed after that fight. He was not happy with his performance. He does not feel like he did a great job against Cub Swanson. He feels like he should have done much better against Cub Swanson, and he simply didn't. But that being said, I mean, he went out there against Cub, and he did win the fight. He went 2 for 11 on takedowns. Not incredible, but he made Cub go 0 for 2 on takedowns. 18% versus 0%. I'll take 18 over 0 any day of the week. He outlanded Cub on significant strikes 67 to 62. Again, I'll take that any day of the week. Granted, Cub had better accuracy, 55.9%, having only thrown 111 and landing 62 versus 45.6% clip. Throwing 147 and landing 67. Now, when we get to total strikes is where it gets a little bit questionable, right? We have 90 versus 70. So that is bit of a tough call as far as judging goes, right? So that's where we have to end up going by round, right? Which is exactly how the fights are actually scored. And I'm going to pass it to Nano to take the lead on this one, and then I'll pop back in. Did you have Touchy-Feely winning the fight on the initial watch? I don't know if you've rewatched or not, but in general, did you initially have him winning the fight?
I did rewatch it, and I might be biased because he is repping Sacramento 916. So I am a fan, been watching him and kind of known about him, seeing him operating, just a fan of his in that sense. So honestly, I was watching it with rose-colored glasses, was excited. I thought he had good movement. If I'm being subjective, and it was interesting, right? Because I'd have to rewatch it to kind of remember some of the things, but let's go round by round because that is how it scored. Round 1. He looked better. He was moving. He was countering. And he did drop Cub. Although when I rewatched it again, I was like, oh, it wasn't necessarily a drop. He kind of like caught him when he was spinning and like maybe hit the top of his head when I kind of slowed it down. So I was like, okay, maybe subjectively, like it probably wasn't even scored that way. But got that. Second round, got the takedown, which again, when the punching totals are close or he's like maybe just edging him out, you got to factor in that takedown as well. And then the third round, to be honest, I mean, Cub was definitely starting to get to his, and maybe that's where someone like an Andre Touchy-Feely, obviously critical of himself, he's a professional athlete, sets the bar high, but I'm sure in some ways too, I think he did get hurt at one point in that third round, so it's probably the last thing that he remembers. And a lot of us have recency bias, so maybe he's just like in his head, like, oh man, that just didn't finish the way I wanted. Maybe I was starting to fade. Maybe he got hit and it's like, oh fuck, that shouldn't have happened. And we saw him after, like he did have a big shiner. So it's not like he walked out scot-free. I'm sure at a minimum, he was probably walking around. His face was hurting, bruised up, maybe something fractured or what have you. But all to say, love his style. I think he looked great out there. And at this age, 34 years old, it's like feels like it's kind of now or never for him to try to go up there, get a fucking ranked opponent, try to make a run. But I think he has all the appeal. I'd love to see him fight in Cali again ASAP or in Vegas, wherever. But yeah, man, he's the guy. But again, I think being biased, I thought he won, and then I rewatched it. I could see it going the other way. You can make a case for Cub because he was the aggressor, especially towards the end. But unless you are fully into the mindset that like the third round is like weighted more than the first and second round for some reason, then I guess maybe you can still again make a case for it. But I thought my boy Touchy-Feely won a very close-knit battle, and maybe it was by points or just kind of, obviously by rounds. But what were your thoughts, brother?
So first and foremost, I think that's a pretty solid breakdown. I actually gave I gave Cub round 1, and I gave Touchy Feely rounds 2 and 3. I know Cub was coming on more aggressively in round 3, but he got controlled for 1:23 seconds, and he also got outlanded on significant strikes by 1. Not a ton, not super duper noticeable, but more so on rewatch than on initial watch. I did think Touchy Feely did enough in the second and third rounds, right? Second round, he controlled Cub for almost half the round. He got 2.5 minutes of control time off of 1 takedown. Took him 4 attempts. And then in third round, it took him 6 attempts. But he did actually land one of those. And he did get 1:23 seconds control time versus 3. The only round that Cub outlanded him in significant strikes in was round 1. He did outland him in every single round in total strikes, though. I think that is worth noticing and worth noting in general. But still think Touchy Feely did enough to win the war overall. So great job for Touchy Feely. Do you have a name sitting in the featherweight division on who you'd like to see him face next?
Oh man, do you have anyone? I mean, I'd love to see him crack that top 15 finally, but it's tough, man. There's a lot of freaking talented people in that division.
There's a lot of talented people. I'd like to see him fight like a Giga Chikadze.
Oh, that's a really fun one.
I think that's a fun match.
Barboza, but Giga would be cool. Although Giga is,
I'm not mad at Edson either.
Brendan Allen, July 27th, actually in a few weeks from here. We'll be breaking it down soon. Stay tuned, y'all.
Definitely.
But man, maybe Edson Barboza, or Bryce at 13. A unique matchup stylistically, but I think Barboza would be fun. Both long-time savvy vets in the UFC.
I think Barboza would be a solid matchup.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that one at all, man. Sign me up. That's a striker's delight if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, in a fight where no takedowns were shot, that lasted 1:25 whole seconds, we had Joe Pyfer, a.k.a. Mr. B. Joe Pyfer, coming in against Marc-Andre Berriot. My goodness. This man was fucking on fire. He made Marc-Andre Powerbar Berriot come in and throw 5 strikes and whiff on 5 strikes. He came out there. He threw 8 fucking strikes that connected and only missed 2. Folks of you that are sitting at home bad at math, scratching your head saying, I wonder how accurate that was. That's an 80% fucking clip. Also one of those things that's very unlikely, very unheard of in mixed martial arts. Unless, of course, you're a guy coming off of a loss that just knows he needs to come out here and remind people exactly who the fuck he is. And that's exactly what Joe Pyfer did. He came out there and, the dude's nickname is Power Bar. And Marc-Andre Berriot, his opponent. And I mean, if we're talking in video game terminology here, he went out there and within 1:30, he depleted the power bar. He depleted the health bar. David Goggins would say he carried the boats. It was just fucking nasty. Nano, what were your thoughts on Joe fucking Pyfer? As you take a sip from the shaker bottle, fucking trying to be Joe Pyfer yourself right now. I see you, brother, getting them gains in, baby.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I know all this Joe Pyfer talk, thinking about his muscles, made me think I think get my protein shake in here. Man, I'm a little parched. But yeah, brother, hey, dude's a stud. I mean, let's call it what it is. As soon as he starts throwing those leather fisticuffs, man, bodies hit the flow. Man, the bodies hit the flow. Great song. But yeah, I was gonna start screaming it, but I don't have the voice power. All jokes aside, man, Joe Pyfer, absolute savage. Connected on Marc-Andre Berriot with just some heavy hands, brother. And once he heard him, he knew, and I think he threw caution to the wind. Was throwing 100 miles an hour. Felt like he was trying to reset the punch machine high score with just the way he was going about it. One of those shots did hit, I think, the one that hurt him hit Mark on the temple. But one of the ones that really dropped him hit him kind of on the back of the head or back of the ear kind of area. It was tough. He was covering. He was kind of ducking his head. So I don't think it was full-on intentional illegal shot, but that definitely would drop anybody. I mean, again, this cat Joe Pyfer's throwing fucking 100-mile-an-hour fastballs with his fist. and he's just so gosh darn big, right? He's so big for the division. He's been tested, and this is a great highlight finish for our boy Joe Pyfer as he continues to have that to his resume. What's next for him, though? Dude, why not give him a top 15 guy? Well, why not? I mean, I love a Chris Curtis. That's a guy that never says no to a fight. That can really be a good test for Joe from a stylistic, from a striking perspective. If not him, maybe the natural, maybe Kai Barajo. I don't know if that's too far up, but those are two guys that, I mean, at least when you put them next to each other, you think these are two scary individuals. What are you thinking, brother?
I actually didn't write a name down for Joe Pyfer, I'll be honest with you. But I'm not mad at Caio Barrio. I think that's a really fucking fun matchup. I'm going to give you 100% kudos for that. I'm not even trying to steal that. That's great.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. Feels right. Feels natural.
There's a line that I utilize or reuse very often from a movie. What was the movie? It's based on a DC Comics series. Not The Boys. The Losers. The Losers. And they say a line in this movie. It's like, God, I don't remember the exact line word for word, but it's such a solid line. It's something to the tune of, Wade, it's like handing a 6-year-old a gun. You don't quite know what's going to happen, but you know it's going to make headlines. I feel like that's exactly a good way to describe Joe Pyfer versus Caio Barrio. It's like handing someone a loaded handgun. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know it's probably going to make the papers. It's going to be worth writing about and worth talking about. I think in that fight, someone gets knocked the fuck out, and I don't know who. And those are the most exciting fights for me as a fight fan. So, as Conor McGregor would say, sign me up. I'm there for that all fucking day, kid.
You did mention two movies there. You mentioned The Boys and The Losers. There is one common denominator in both of those movies, or both of those DC. Shows. Both DC, but we're talking Jeffrey Dean
actually,
Morgan.
No, sorry. One is Image Comics and the other is DC.
There we go. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the actor.
He's in both.
He's in both. The Grizzle
Have you actually seen The Losers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to look up the cast because I was like, wait, what's that guy's name? I know.
What's up, bitches? I got
Idris Elba. That's a classic, bro. And freaking Captain America, bro.
Chris Evans.
Damn straight. His character's hilarious.
Yee. He's fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, Zoe Saldana, babe.
Wearing the shirt with the girl eating the hot dog while holding a crossbow. Like, I mean, it's just classic scenes.
Oh yeah, dude.
Classic looks.
This was like peak early 2000s action movies for sure.
I may have to rewatch that film tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max.
There we go.
Shout out. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Well, I'm going to go ahead and pour up a shot because I was definitely wrong about this one. And we're starting off the main card. So
here we go.
Tis the season. A little ASMR unscrewing of the lid here for you folks. Ian Machado Gary. Man, MVP was not happy about this fight. He was not happy about the wrestle fucking that took place. He wasn't happy about any of it, Nano.
I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him. It was a frustrating outing for him, for sure.
It's a frustrating one to watch.
Ian neutralized him the way he should have. He didn't get the jiu-jitsu finish that he was looking for.
Who ain't got jiu-jitsu?
And I think all that training with those Brazilian boys doesn't mean you're a black belt, my brother. He didn't get leveled up. I think I saw Gilbert Burns coaching him on how to actually maybe execute that a little bit better. From what he was doing in terms of just the angle or where he was kind of trying to apply the pressure, where he was squeezing from. Gilbert's like, oh no, you should have done it this way. So he would have got him. It's like, oh, well, that's the difference from a black belt to what Ian's trying to be right now. Which again, he's getting better. He's improving. He's doing all the right things. Not to hate on the kid that takes a lot of hate already. Honestly, I think he's a great fighter. I think he, at least in the beginning, it felt like he might have been trying a little too hard, but I think now he's kind of done it enough where it's like, okay, this is kind of who you are. Like, you're leaning in, you're confident. Kind of went away from the Irish stick. Now you're basically just straight repping Machado, Chama, ao Brasil, which, hey, all good. But all to say, you got to still get the wins in the octagon, and he's getting the wins, right? It doesn't matter how it looks. I mean, even John Jones maybe went out there and had some quote unquote flat days, or just maybe it's just the opponent. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, right? Izzy Israel Adesanya versus a Yael Romero comes to mind, where it's like has all the hype, but is just this freaking boring stand fest where guys literally just standing for 20 seconds. Like those things happen, few and far between. But the reality is, I don't think this fight should be labeled fully in that category. Like I think there was still some exciting moments, because the thing that kept me on the edge of the seat was just the styles. And is MVP going to get to his marks? And he hurt Ian a couple times. He hit him. I don't know how bad he hurt him, but he certainly got his attention. He was scoring like he knows how to do in that kind of style. But yeah, MVP has no ground game whatsoever, and Ian just really exposed that, took advantage of it, and did what he had to do to win. So I'm not going to hate on him. He gets enough of that already. But I do think that did he call out Shafkat, or who did he call out?
He did call out Shafkat. Shafkat is the guy he called out.
Not a good idea, but I will drink to MVP still being a fan favorite here and coming in over from Bellator and stealing the show. But Ian Gary, man, hey, keep it up, brother. If you're gonna be the villain, WWE style, then so be it.
I mean, turn heel.
Turn heel. Oh boy. There we go. Can't fake it.
We're back. When I did that, it reminded me of Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars Episode 1. Fun fact, if you're a Star Wars fan, maybe you didn't know this. I didn't know it until recently. Did you know that before Jar Jar Binks was actually cast, right? Before Jar Jar Binks was cast by Ahmed Best, you're going to love this. They had actually fully cast and started screen testing with Michael Jackson. Then he died.
Jeez, really?
Yep.
Actually,
God. That's not 100% truthful. Him dying is not why he went out of the running. He actually went out of the running because he wanted to just like wear makeup and be in the role. And they wanted to revolutionize CGI and have Ahmed Best wear green screen and do the mocap stuff. But there's actually videos of him like dancing around on the Star Wars set. Michael
really?
Jackson. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
that's
you
crazy.
can find it. You can look it up on the interwebs. Hash browns. Hashtags. No, real talk though. That's the funniest fucking thing I've found out in recent months. It's like, wow, could you imagine? He's all Misa hee so happy. I don't know how he would have sounded as Jar Jar Binks, but I feel like it would have been interesting.
Oh yeah, that would have been great. He would have had some good dance scenes, I guess. Or
Misa is so happy. I don't know why I was doing the robot while I did that. It was weird. Just gonna stop. So, Ian Machado Gary went out there and got the damn thing done. The dude looked really good against MVP, who, as you said, proved to have no ground game, while MVP proved to have some. Ian Gary proved to have some ground game. I mean, the kid is still young. Is Ian Gary, right? He's 26 years old, and he's just constantly improving. I'm not a fan of him. I don't like his mouthpiece. I think he's super annoying. I think he tries very, very hard to be Conor McGregor, who he's not. But all of that being said, I'll say the same thing about him I said about Colby Covington about 7 years ago. The worst thing about him is how fucking good he is at the sport that he's playing in. And that's just that. He's a really good martial artist. What up, Luna? Shout out. He's a really good martial artist. And I mean, if you want to hate on him, hate on that. He's fucking good at what he does, kid. So, do you have a name on the tip of your tongue in the welterweight division for young Ian Machado Gary?
Man, this one's a little bit special, so I guess we could do it for both fighters. I think MVP should definitely fight Wonder Boy. I think we all need to see that from a karate stylistic standpoint. That has to happen. And then I think Ian, I guess, did Shavkat get confirmed to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, or is that not confirmed yet? Because if it's not, I wouldn't mind throwing Ian's name.
Let me double check, brother.
But if that is confirmed, obviously we can't necessarily throw Shavkat out there. So I guess assuming Shavkat's available, love to see Shavkat run it with Ian Gary. If Shavkat's not available because he is going to fight JDM, which sounds tough. That sounds like a badass matchup.
There's nothing scheduled, brother.
Okay.
If it's not official on Sherdog, it's not official in my opinion. Sorry.
Ian Sin at 7, dude, there's really not a lot of people. I guess I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Colby again. or excuse me, trying to get that fight back on track. Colby's got that 4 next to his name, and it's like, what is he gonna do? He's calling out Nick Diaz at this point. It's like, is he serious or not? But I think maybe that's appropriate for our boy Ian Gary if he can't get Shavkat. What you think, brother?
I think Ian Gary versus Shavkat would be a fucking banger of a matchup. Are you kidding me? Dude, sign me up for that. That makes me feel like a small child who still believes in Santa Claus. I mean, it makes me believe that magic is real. I mean, give me that fight, dude. Sign me up. Yeah, that just seems like a fight that UFC 1 or UFC 8 would have made. You know, like when the West was wild. You don't care about the up-and-coming star versus the guy that could probably kill him. You just put it together because you're like, I wonder what would happen. And I mean, like, that's the premise of UFC, right? Like, well, this guy's a grappler. This guy's a striker. I wonder what would happen. This guy's a striker. This guy's a striker. But they're different types of strikers. I wonder what would happen. That's the premise of fucking UFC. You know, like, cue the tumbleweeds and the wow, wow, wow. You know, like, I mean, that's literally what the UFC was founded on, was built upon. So give me this up-and-coming striker from Ireland versus this fucking absolute killer. This nomad, right? From fucking Kazakhstan. His literal nickname is Nomad, which always makes me think of the song by Metallica. Nomad, wanderer, vagabond, call me what you will. Throwback. I'm also 98% sure I saw the guitarist from Metallica in my local coffee shop this morning in California.
The guitarist, you said?
Yeah, I'll send you a picture after this because I was that guy. I like pretended to be on my phone and got a picture. And I showed it to my homie and was like, you just saw them in concert. Is this him? And he's like, that looks like Kirk Hammett.
Kurt Hammett? Oh, nice. I thought you said, it's over.
Like, no, that's the drummer. I'm a huge Metallica fan.
Nice.
So Kirk Hammett, like, literally looks just like him, has the long curly fucking hair.
Nice.
And he even had the mole under his right eye.
And he's Hawaiian, right?
I think so. He always looks Hawaiian.
Because that's Koa, like and then one of my other cousins, basically. Like, he's like kind of connected to Metallica through like kind of like a distant, like, basically he's like a distant uncle to Koa and like his family.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah, like when he's in the band stuff, like he gets like floor passes or VIP passes or whatever he wants.
That's one of the bucket list bands that I have for sure.
Yeah, my dad's a huge fan of friggin' Metallica.
My dad jumped on a train and saw Metallica after they played when Guns N' Roses opened for them, and then James Hetfield, I'm combining names. James Hetfield, the frontman of Metallica, got severely burned by the pyrotechnics, and people started throwing shit at Axl Rose when he came back on stage because like they had to rush Metallica off, and people were like, "Dude, we fucking came here to see Metallica. We don't want to see Guns N' Roses." With all due respect, like, it's not the same. Like,
yeah, it's a different show. That's hilarious.
It's like promising Carmen Electra and meeting Pamela Anderson. Like, they're both beautiful, right? But it's like, I love Sprite. I love Dr. Pepper. But if I'm expecting a sip of Sprite and I drink Dr. Pepper, I'm upset. I'm let down. These folks were expecting to see Metallica. They got Guns N' Roses, so they were upset. They started throwing stuff at Axl Rose. They were like trying to storm the stage and stuff. My dad told me that Hetfield came out and did one song with like a fucked up arm from the pyrotechnics just to like calm the crowd down before they rushed him to the hospital.
Jeez.
But like, what a fucking stud. His arm is like melted and he's like, all right, these guys are probably gonna burn down the fucking city. Let me come out and sing a song. It's incredible. But yeah, 90% sure I saw the guitars today. And jumping back to the MMA stuff, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Gary, I feel like is just a disgusting fight. Now I've got to ask you before we move on to the next fight here, who would you have in that fight, Nano?
I mean, I was already leaning Shavkat, but he did mention that he got the better out of them two in previous sparring matches because they used to train together. So Shafkat said, "I'll happily refresh your memory of what I used to do to you back then, boy." So honestly, I do think Shafkat has the nod, and I think Shafkat, to be honest, man, is about as good as it gets in that division, man. Although
he's top 3 on his worst day, he's top 3.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
I'm with you, brother. I think Shafkat all fucking day, and I mean, like, Shafkat literally put on his best Roy Jones Jr. impression and said, "You must have forgot. Like, dude, we trained together."
I got the receipts.
Did you forget what happened, kid? And even Ian Machado was like, "Yeah, I remember the round he's talking about. He got me. He got the better of me. I was tired. Our coach told us not to go hard, and he hit me, and I was like, oh, you son of a gun, I'm gonna get you back." Which sounds like a long-winded story to say, yeah, he got me. So give me Shafkat in this one all fucking day, kids. And we'll go ahead and move into the next one. We had Maíra Bueno Silva coming in against Macy Chiasson. This was a back and forth banger of a first round and a half. And then Macy Chiasson. Oh, Sacre Bleu. She came out there and she hit the fucking French 1-2 on top, brother. She caught that elbow and she split her open. Like just a Cajun stew, brother. Just fucking, she just spread it open like a flavor palette in Cajun town. It was nasty. And once she just landed, did a perfect, in my opinion, perfect little post clip throw down the side. She opened her hand up, which for those of you that haven't done Muay Thai, a good Muay Thai coach will teach you how to throw an elbow. A great Muay Thai coach will teach you how to throw a proper elbow. Son of a bitch, that was a proper elbow, Nano. She pushed and then turned her fucking palm towards her opponent to slide in. And that literally opens up. Like, you can see how pointy that is right there. Right? Just when you open that hand up, it creates a point. You're shedding the muscle lining here so that way you can actually hit. Whereas if you're here, you can see that threshold come down here and it creates almost a pad. So again, just push something so simple as aiming your palm towards your opponent is what's going to create a vast difference in the amount of damage that you're able to inflict on your opponent. That's how you're going to go in and actually split a forehead open. And that's exactly what Macy Chiasson did. She split that forehead open. You instantaneously saw the blood just start to drip out of that forehead. And instead of continuing to inflict damage, mind you, Nano, you and I both know we were watching this fight, right? She could have opened the fucking floodgates to hell and just dripped her opponent out. As the flat earther himself likes to say, Bryce Mitchell, she could have cooked her to the bone, but she chose not to, right? Instead, she chose to just stand up and say, you know what? Get up. Let's continue fighting here, huh? And what happened is the doctor walked in right away. Ref had the doctor come in and check out what was going on in the fight. And the doctor instantaneously stopped the fight after seeing that he could literally see her bone. If I split a slice in your forehead and I can see the bone, aka your skull, that's it. That's a wrap. So that's fucking it, baby. Macy Chiasson, fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana, gets it done. And honestly, gets it done in emphatic fashion over Maíra Bueno Silva, who is a game opponent. Nano, what shocked you out of this fight?
That finish was definitely shocking, right? I think to your point about the reaction was that there was not just the doctor's reaction when he kind of sees it, but the whole crowd, all of us did the same thing at the same time. Oh, okay, that is bone. That is nasty. Yep, that's deep. So yeah, it felt obvious at that point as he starts to pull, the skin back from the lip of her eyebrow there. Yeah, I guess, and again, even to get to that point, right? Like Macy Chiasson, she looked good. She looked big. She's long for this division, and with those long limbs, was able to drop down a long elbow from the top ropes, to use those WWE terms like we've been doing all night. And man, I mean, she really impressed me. I think, Maíra Bueno Silva, although in my opinion, I think she was slightly losing, right? Like she was on the bottom there. She might have had a long rest of that round or rest of the fight if it were going to continue on, because I don't know how much she could have damaged. She was ripping the body, which I love to see. She was ripping the hell out of the body, which could have definitely weighed in those second, third rounds. But Macy just looks so gosh darn big, tough, skilled that I mean, it certainly felt that Macy was going to win. And obviously with that kind of stoppage, I think although Mayra Bueno Silva protested after, immediately jumped the fence, immediately went to Dana and was like, hey, I'm fine. Like, you got to run that back. Like, don't let this cut, deter things. And I get it. Like, it's unfortunate, but the reality is, like, that is part of the game. Like, if it were a championship fight, I mean, and it's doctor stoppage like that, it's still in front of it TKO. It's still a dub for our girl Macy. So it's like you can't fully, like, take it away there. And in a way, I kind of feel like a rematch would almost – then it's like, what's the point of this fight then, right? I mean, if you just go straight to running it back, then just DQ it. But it's like if Macy won, you kind of have to give her that respect. I mean, it was because she landed a nasty elbow on her opponent. So all to say, I mean, she jumped her in the ranking. Maybe you do give her that nod for someone like Irene Aldana, who I love.
Wait, Irene Aldana? Are you talking about the woman that I ran into in line at 3:45 a.m. at Secret Pizza?
Secret Pizza, baby. Absolutely.
That was the best random fighter meeting. I'm sitting there and I'm like, trying not to be that guy staring at her. And like all of the guys standing with her are wearing Team Diego Lopez shirts, who obviously we're going to get into that in like, one or two fights. And I'm like, fuck, that's got to be her. So I Google it and I'm all, yep, that's her. They order like 2 full pizzas, and as soon as they walk off to the side, the guy's like, I'm going to need you to wait here for just a moment. We'll be right back to take your order. I'm like, take your time. Irene, can you get a picture? And she leans in and yeah, super, super sweet lady. Love where you're going right now. I think Irene Aldana versus Macy Chiasson, brother, all fucking day.
That's the one. That's the one.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's a fun-ass fight. And I honestly don't know who I would take. I mean, you know me. Once I've met a fighter, I always back that fighter. Love Macy Chiasson because she's from the home state, Louisiana. But I didn't meet her in line at Secret Pizza. 3:45 a.m. on a fucking Saturday or technically Sunday. Man, I guess give me Irene in that fight. I actually would probably pick Irene in that fight as much as I like Macy. And mind you, I do like Macy Chiasson a lot. I think she's a very long, strong fighter who's down to get the friction on, as Sir Mix-a-Lot would say. She's long, she's strong, she's down to get the friction on. Ladies know what's up, especially in the bantamweight division, folks. So give me that fight. I love that fight. Speaking of a fight that I love, Roman Dolidze, the outdoorsman himself, coming in against Anthony Lionheart Smith, who we also saw in the casinos down in Las Vegas, more like found Vegas with how much fighters we found. Oh, man. Tico Tech, what up? Welcome to the chat, my guy. We were just talking about the random fighters that we saw. I saw Irene Aldana at a Secret Pizza at 3:45 a.m. We also saw Anthony Smith at, gosh, it was probably like 2 at that point, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was pretty sweet.
So that was right when like the after parties were really like kicking up, probably.
Yeah. He had his glasses on. He's with his
This
girl.
guy saw fucking Faber, huh?
Yeah, you're at Faber as well, leaving the clubs. Or leaving the elevator, I guess. I assume the club, but could have been the casino. But yeah, man. Let's go.
Every time I go to the bathroom, this guy would see a different fucking fighter. He's like, oh, I saw such and such where you were taking a piss. Like, oh, that's cool.
That's how it happens, man. They're walking by. It's quick. They don't stop.
Hey, so speaking of don't stop, brother, Roman Dolidze coming in against Anthony fucking Lionheart Smith. Oh, man. What were your thoughts on this fight? This guy looked really good in there against a very game, wily veteran. We're talking about someone who has almost 5 times the amount of fights as him. What were your thoughts on Roman Dolidze?
Yeah, man. Yeah, going into this, I was intrigued because we got it on a short notice bout here. Anthony Lionheart Smith going in against a Roman Dolidze who's not even in the division. Like, this guy's a freaking middleweight. And honestly, when you look at him, it's kind of shocking. The dude's ginormous, but he goes up to light heavyweight, Let me say that again for emphasis. And he goes out there and he beats up on freaking Anthony Lionheart Smith. Starts dancing in front of him. DC called it out. He's like, that's disrespectful. I wouldn't love that. I get it. I naturally probably would have smiled too, just because I'm kind of like less confrontational. I wouldn't have taken that Michael Jordan route of like, oh, he's disrespecting me. But Roman looked good, bro. I mean, he's a big son of a gun. He's strong. He's skilled. And I just, at this point, just feel like Anthony Lionheart Smith needs to have an honest reflection on what he wants to do. The general sentiment after the fight apparently is that he was telling Dana and Hunter, like he went right up to the booth after. This is per John Anik on his podcast. That he said like, hey, I need more time next time. Like, just give me more time next time, which fair. You know, every fighter needs their proper time to do a camp, unless you're Dan motherfucking Ige. But man, just felt like it's just a good sign that I think Anthony is sunsetting in his career, right? It's in the twilight, I guess is what I was looking for. So all to say, like, I don't know what's next for him. I'd hate to try to pick another tough up and coming dude. Like, he was supposed to fight Carlos Ulberg at one point. Like, I don't think I'd want to see him fight any of these ranked guys. They're all so tough. They all can pretty much really hurt him. And so I don't see the motivation at this point. But again, I mean, if you're him, you're a fighter. That's what fighters do. Maybe like a Dom Reyes, or I don't know what you do with him. But even with the Elite, it's like, what do you do with the Elite now? Is he a light heavyweight? Is he a middleweight? What the hell is he? Either way, he's a talented fighter that I'd love to see him fight anyone. Frankly, anyone in middleweight, or if you want to stay at light heavyweight, try to swing and bang with some of these big boys. I wouldn't mind. I'd like to see it. But those are my thoughts. I don't really have a set name because, again, this going up a weight class, I mean, it's like you could reward them and say, okay, if you're sitting at 10, there's a Jack Hermanson, there's a Paulo Costa who might be going up, our boy Brendan All In Allen. I mean, hey, easy day for our boy All In. Nah, I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, Roman Dolidze is a stud, but that's a fun matchup, though. I do like that matchup now. What are you thinking, brother?
Man, I mean, Roman Dolidze he's an absolute stud. First and foremost, like, great breakdown. Roman Dolidze might be that guy. But he just beat an aging Anthony Smith. I say we give him the guy that had to pull out of this last fight, the one that replaced all of this. I say we give him Carlos Ulberg. I think that's a logical fight. I think it makes sense. And I think both these guys are kind of in the trajectory where they're both young, active fighters. They make a lot of sense to butt heads. Let's see what rooster or wild cock makes it out on top, so to speak. Either way, I think us fight fans are going to win that one, brother, because it would be just a fun banger of a fight.
Agreed, brother. I agree. I think it'd be a fun one. It's a good name. Book it.
Book it, Dana. Uncle Sean Shelby, listen to us right now. We're feeding you guys literal gold nuggets here. And for Anthony Smith, I know we usually don't play like what's next for the losers here, but do you want to see him fight again? Do you want to see him hang him up? What do you hope happens next for Anthony Lionheart Smith?
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather see him hang him up, but the reality is I can still see him maybe wanting another fight or two. But someone, I like Dom Reyes at first glance. Like, I don't know if they've ever squared off, but two guys that both fought John Jones at one point. Might be some intrigue there. If not that, I don't know if there's any other legends, or if, I don't know, what do you do? It's not a lot of space for him. It's like you're trending the wrong direction. You're losing to middleweights now. Like, who's going to deliver the best payday, I guess maybe is how you look at it.
Just because you brought this up, I've got to cut you off and say, would you like to see him go back down to middleweight?
Yeah, I mean, if his body can handle it, that's not a bad idea.
I think if he can make the cut, I think that might be where he belongs, right? Like, he might be able to actually have some I don't know, kind of like decent fights at middleweight versus light heavyweight, where the guys are just so much larger. It's tough.
Yeah, it is a tough one, and it feels like a lot of middleweights maybe go up to light heavyweight eventually, or they're kind of tweeners because that weight cut is tough, right? And we're talking, was it a 20-pound difference? So there's a lot of guys that try to squeeze into that middleweight but are killing themselves. And yeah, I mean, Lionheart, frankly, he's not a big buff dude, so you would maybe imagine he could potentially get down there, but who knows at that age too, right? I mean, what is he? Closer to 40 than he is 30. So, I mean,
he definitely is. He definitely is.
He's 35. Oh, we're in the middle there, but he feels like he's so much older than that, dude. It's weird. When I look at him, or just the way he fights, or I mean, he looks slow this last match.
He looked labored.
Yeah.
The best word I think I could probably describe him with is just he looked pretty labored, man.
Agreed.
It's tough. It's tough to watch. As a Lionheart fan, it's always tough to watch these guys age out. Speaking of two guys that aren't aging out, my God, I feel like we should pour up another shot for this one, you guys. It's time. It's time to talk about the two biggest studs of the entire fucking card, folks.
It's time!
That's right, Bruce Buffer. It's time. It is time to talk about the co-main event of the evening. We are talking about Dan 50K Ige coming in against Diego, where are you, Lopez. And we say that about him here because he looks like fucking Tom DeLonge from, Blink-182. You know what I'm talking about.
Where are you?
And I'm so sorry. I'll make that joke until the day I die. It's just fucking true. Okay. It's going to happen. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It's the way life goes. This guy, okay, as I pour my shot up here for fucking Diego Lopez, he started off the week thinking he was going to have a 145-pound fight. He's cutting to make 145-pound for this fight, okay? Because he has to weigh in on Friday morning. And then on Friday morning Nano, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 2 a.m., 3 a.m. that he gets the fucking call?
It's 4 a.m., yep.
4 a.m. Oh my God. 4 a.m. he gets the fucking call, guys. Hello, this is Diego. Motherfucker was passed the fuck out, brother. He was cutting weight the night before, okay? Hello, this is Jeff. Come on. He picks up the phone, or at least his manager does. And then what happens? But this young man being told, oh, by the way, your opponent, he's not going to make weight. Okay, it's 4 a.m. Can he make like a 150? They respond with, no, he's going to make 155. He's going to be 10 pounds over. What in the actual fuck? For those of you that are new to the sport, that's a whole fucking weight class. That is a whole weight class different. And it's also fucking ridiculous. It's kind of asinine. If you work at Walmart, that would be like you showing up, I want to say without your badge, but it feels more disrespectful than that. So I'm just going to say without your pants. That's like you showing up to work at Walmart without your pants. You're either getting fired or going to be registered sexual predator for the rest of your life. Either way, not a good look for you, right? It's just, you're taking shots. All right, it's not good. This guy, because he called him at 4 a.m. and negotiated that it was going to be at 155, doesn't have to sacrifice any of his fighter purse. It just goes on as a lightweight bout. But it gets better, folks. It gets better. I know what you're thinking. Like, are we in the fucking Twilight Zone right now? Are we in the fucking X-Files? Like, come on. What is happening right now? It's got to be some alien shit, because what happened next, no one could have expected. The man calls and says that he's sick and that he's not going to be able to make the fight at all now. So instead, they call a dude that's sitting at home on his couch watching the fights, who's also a UFC fighter that's ranked. And he's like, well, I'm about 165 pounds. I can come weigh in. So then they moved the fight, which was originally scheduled for 145 pounds, to be a 165 pound bout. Are you fucking kidding me? But what does Diego Lopez say? He takes a look around. And he's like, Dan Ige,
Where are you?
And then he just marched his ass to the goddamn octagon and beat that guy. Because it doesn't matter what weight class. It doesn't matter what day. It doesn't matter even what place. Diego Lopez is here to stay. It's a fact. All right. The dude is an absolute beast. And I love watching this dude fight. 49 significant strikes over 42. 90 total strikes over 67. And he wasn't a takedown merchant, right? Like he only shot 3 takedowns, landed one of them. The dude looked good. If I had to describe him in one word, you already know where I'm going, Nano. Dog. Come on. He's a fucking junkyard dog, kid. The dude is an absolute beast. If you had any doubts if he was that guy, they're fucking gone. Okay? Because he just solidified the fact that he is that dude. He is that guy, pal. And I truly just think he deserves a round of applause. What a fucking stud. I poured a shot out for him. I don't know if you did as well, but I mean, either way, brother, this shot is for Diego Lopez. And 50K Ige.
I would say we got a toast for both
the folks that step up when we need them to.
Damn straight. That's how you become legendary, honestly.
Let's go.
Yeah, and the thing with Dan Ige, he was in that sweet spot, right? Like, obviously, you mentioned being on the couch, which I'm sure that's probably where he literally was when he got the call. But it's not like he was not training. He had a fight that was scheduled to be had originally, I believe, within the next month, maybe even like 2 or 3 weeks, which apparently, according to Ray Longo, on John and Florian's podcast as well, was mentioning that's kind of the sweet spot. That's when your fighters usually look the best, when they're full, they're eating healthy, they're strong before that weight cut, before making weight. That's typically when they are their best, quote unquote, peak, because all the weight cutting, everything takes a lot out of you, and then you try to get back and you don't look at that same level. Let's call the bar, or let's say at that 6 weeks out, you're at 100%. After you go through a weight cut, get back online, you're 95 best case scenario, probably closer to like 90 realistically. Again, after starving yourself, not drinking any water, you're doing everything you can to be as low as you can. So again, with that in mind, I think Danny get right in the sweet spot, and what an absolute dog to say yes to it, to willing to do it on like day of essentially, and go in there and fight a tough son of a gun, Diego Lopez. Yeah, Ige like immortified himself this night. He looked great. And it's funny, again, I'm going to keep referencing this podcast here, John Anik and the boys, because they also referenced, they had Coach Nixick on, and Nixick mentioned that he felt like he fucked up and sacrificed, like he cost Dan Ige the fight due to some of his coaching tactics. Most specifically, going into that second round, he called for a same side head kick, something that Dan Ige normally never does. He threw it. He got taken down. That led to the control time, and Diego essentially probably winning that second round. Third round, Danny came back, looked great. Diego started to fade a little bit, or at least it looked like maybe not as much faded as much as Danny started to get more of his momentum going. So all of that, I mean, this fight, an obvious fight of the night contender, in my opinion. I'm surprised it didn't get fight of the night. That was Andre Touchy-Feely versus Cub Swanson. But this fight was absolutely fun back and forth. The fact that it was so last minute, the fact that Danny Ige savage enough to fucking take the fight, everything about it was great. And Diego Lopez did what he had to do, took care of business. I think he said he did want to still fight Brian Ortega. So if you do want to run it back with him, so be it. You guys are both ranked highly, so I don't mind running it back. But even Dana White mentioned that like Brian Ortega was acting weird leading up to the fight, that maybe there's like some mental stuff going on. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, another person I'm thinking of, and let me know your thoughts. I don't know if he would do it because he's another fellow Mexican, but Yadier Rodriguez at number 4 would be another fun fight. Maybe in the Dome in September. That'd be fire. For UFC Noche? What you think?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to stop you, brother. You can't call the Sphere the Dome. The Dome is in New Orleans, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't let that slide. I thought about letting it slide, but I just can't. My left trap grew like 3 times in size because I got so fucking tense. Just the left one, because it's like abnormally larger than the right one, which Nano talks shit about all the time.
The sphere. Definitely the sphere.
The sphere, not the dome, bro. The dome is where Dustin Poirier is going to beat Justin Gaethje and make life right. That's what's happening. That's gotta happen. Give me a dome card in mid-November, please.
Lego. It's right around my birthday.
Brother, can we just squeeze one in? Super dome card? New Orleans? Dustin Poirier?
If that's what it takes, that's the move.
Come on, baby. Les éléphants sont roulés, mon ami. Yeah, I'm trying to see that fight. I think that's where it needs to happen. But the Sphere, yes. Give me that next fight at the Sphere. I'm not mad at it. I agree. I'm in agreement with essentially everything that you're saying. But I will say, actually, no, I don't even have anything else to add. I mean, if not Yair, I'll just play Devil's Avocado because I like to do it. Every once in a while, I like to play Devil's Advocate. You know what I'm saying? We gotta do it. So we're gonna play Devil's Advocate for you right now, and that Devil's Advocate is this: if not Yair, give me the Movsar Evloev rematch. I think that's a solid one.
I agree.
He fought him on what? A week's notice? 2 weeks notice last time? That was his fucking UFC debut. First time under the bright lights? Come on.
It makes sense. There's a story there. Definitely makes sense.
Someone said shameful. I'm not mad at it. They're definitely right.
It was shameful.
You're right, Habby. You're right.
It was not a good mix-up on my end. I should have known better. And if I knew better, I'd do better. So I'm going to be better now.
I would like to tell you that we'll do better in the future, but that's probably a lie. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. Man. Dude, I'm 98% sure that she was saying shameful on you for the Superdome mix-up. It has to be.
That was my assumption. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
It's okay. You know, the Las Vegas Sphere, the New Orleans Superdome. It's I mean, in Jersey Shore terms, it's like confusing a 10 for a grenade. But we'll just take it on the chin tonight, brother.
I'll take the lumps. Keep it moving.
You know, so going into the main event of the evening, again, you know we got to do it. We got to queue up Bruce Buffer.
It's time!
That's right, folks, for Alex Poatan Pereira coming in against Yuri Prokaska, the samurai, the warrior himself. A man who only landed 7 strikes on Saturday night. It was sad to see. I mean, he literally broke his fucking hair. Dude got a 5G antenna on his hair, and he got punched so hard his hair broke. I don't know if you saw I didn't notice that when we were watching the fights live. But good Lord, he broke his hair.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either, but that's tough. It was very sad.
It felt like that scene from Scott Pilgrim where fucking Brandon Routh is like, I don't care. I'll hit a woman. I'm a fucking rock star. And then Scott Pilgrim's like, he slapped the highlights out of her hair. Like, dude, he broke his fucking hair, dude. Give your breakdown while I look for that picture.
Yeah, brother, happily will. Man, I mean, what a night. What a performance. Want to give both these guys credit for stepping in on short notice. You always love to see that. You know, obviously the Connor and Chandler card, that did not happen. This UFC 303, which we thought we were going to be a part of. Unfortunately, this was the next best thing. Honestly, maybe even better from a style perspective, just from an intensity level. I mean, we all saw that stare down leading into the fight. I think none of us expected anything less than violence and somebody getting KO'd, right? I mean, that was what we felt going in, and that's exactly what happened. I did feel, although I was leaning Alex the whole way, a part of me thought maybe there's a slim chance that, you know, Yuri could get it done. Like, he's tough, he's young, you just never know. But man, when you look at Yuri's style, and it was our concerns going into it, he keeps his hands down. You can't play with fire. All it takes is one shot with this Alex Pereira guy. And he's smart, and he's getting better at all the skills that MMA requires. He's developed, he's grown, he's already probably the best kickboxer to ever walk planet Earth. So now you put that kind of elite specialist capabilities with just next level power. I'm talking like special, like God gifted, like the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James, the Patrick Mahomes touch. Like it's just sometimes someone just is born with it, right? That Tom Brady mentality. He's got that it factor, and it is that left hook. Looks unassuming, doesn't need much, doesn't even need to generate a lot of power. But the way he counters, the way he's able to move, and then, I mean, he pretty much ended Yuri with that left hook in the first round, saved by the bell. Came back, noticed something in his pre-fight warm-up while they were simply cutting to Yuri in his pre-fight warm-up. Alex made an adjustment on the spot and said, hey, he's leaving his hands down. I think I could hit him with the switch kick, with the switch front kick, whatever it was. Sure as night, man. Sure as day. Sure as death, taxes, and Alex knocking your ass out, right? I mean, it was a thing of beauty. But if I'm being honest, like, I did get a little sad for Yuri. Seeing him wobbling, trying to stand up, collapsing again after Alex like stared at him and said, go to sleep. He said, oh, his body shut down again. It's like, oh God. The doom 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 boom. Like the closing of the doom doom. Everything just shut off.
I mean, look at his hair. It's so sad. It was standing up, erect, and then it's just like the hottest chick he ever met did her thing, and then it's just laying down at ease, soldier. You hate to see it. I mean, he literally broke his hair. I mean, you wouldn't think that that's a possible thing, but he hit him so hard he broke his hair. It's crazy. And also, I mean, I think it's an apropos question there at the bottom of the tagline there. Nano, move to middleweight? Question mark.
That's tough, man. Because he's a tweener too, right? I mentioned that earlier. Like at 205 to go down to 185. Like, how much more can this guy cut? He looks so gosh darn big and shredded. He's 6'4". I don't know what he walks around at. Maybe he gets a little more confidence. Maybe he walks around at like a 220, 230. So where that extra 20 pounds at the end, I suppose. But he's got to change his regimen. I mean, I don't think he can maintain that kind of mass. I'm gonna pull up a quick picture of him again here because it's really hard to see him go down even more. Again, it's not like he lives this like crazy life, or I don't think he lives an undisciplined lifestyle. Like he talks about the samurai way. I think he lives out in the woods somewhere. Like I don't think he's eating fast food and drinking bevies and doing all this bad stuff. I think he probably lives pretty good. Has he fought in that middleweight before? Maybe early in his career.
He has, to my knowledge. Yeah.
I'm trying
to look up his K1 record because I think it was obviously before the UFC.
When I look at him, I don't see a middleweight, man. If he can do it, sure, but then it's like, what are you compromising? You're getting knocked out already. Like, geez, I mean, who's in the middleweight? Let me look.
It's tough, right? Because then he fights Izzy.
Yeah, well, yeah. And what's Izzy gonna do, right? Or even,
I mean, Izzy's gonna pick him apart.
Yeah, these Kamzat. I mean, these guys are not. It doesn't necessarily get easier.
I mean, out of the first three people he fought, one of them was a middleweight, so that leads me to believe that maybe he fought at middleweight. But
the thing that sucks with Yuri, he's in an interesting spot. Like I think he beats everyone, just not Alex.
Just not Alex. Yeah.
Like Magomed, I love to see him square off against Magomed. I think
he kills Magomed. He's a bad matchup for Magomed with the leg kicks.
I think Yuri beats everyone else, literally. But so it's like I don't know. I guess to answer that question more directly, I'm after thinking through it a little bit more, and just because I don't think he like even can, I'm just gonna say nah, dog, stay where you're at. But he even mentioned like if he doesn't think he's gonna be getting better, if he doesn't think he's gonna be fine for a title, then he doesn't feel like he needs to fight anymore. So maybe he's at that point. Maybe it's like if it's Magomed or if there's an obvious other like number one contender, maybe you do look at this as a 2-fight plan, another year of like, okay, I'll take my lumps, I'll work on maybe my style or working on some sort of better defense and fight whoever's the best or whoever they offer him, and then he's one fight away, he's one win away from fighting Alex again. You just can't see it a third time. You already lost twice, right? It needs to be surefire. Those are my thoughts around it. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again. But if it is, it's for a number one contender or a title.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be a number one contender shot at the very least. the very least. Like he's a stud, bro. Like he doesn't lose. He just doesn't lose step from this. I feel like Yuri Prokaska, like he's an absolute beast of a human being. I mean, again, he landed 7 strikes compared to 49. That's still no knock to him. Like he just, I think he came into this fight in the wrong state of mind, thinking that his opponent was using spirits and things like that. And that was what led to his ability. It's the fact that he's training with different looks. He beat Sean Strickland and then he trained with him for like a week. Right? Like he learned things from the people that even he beats. Whereas the guy that we're talking about that lost the fight, what does he do? No, like you know better than I do. He goes and punches trees. He does like old school things from like Bloodsport and shit. Like he's that guy. And that's fine. I love the persona, but like you can't go like they said it in Tropic Thunder. And I won't say what they said in Tropic Thunder because I'm trying to hope to someday one day get monetized on YouTube here. And this would just instantly get us canceled by using the same words. So I'm just going to change it up to MMA terminology. So if you've ever seen UFC, if you've watched UFC for the last 5 years, this will transcend. This will translate. You never go full Tony Ferguson. Nano. You never, ever go full Tony Ferguson. Just don't do it. It's fair. Bad news bears. You don't do it.
That's always resonated with me. You're absolutely right.
You don't do it, brother. You don't go full Tony Ferguson. And I feel like this guy is really going full Tony Ferguson in not the best way. So take a step back, train at a different gym, and see what that has to offer for you. I truly think that if this man trains at a new gym, it could just be night and day different for him. Because he's got skills, man. He's got so much skills. And you know that he wants it. The drive, the hunger, it's all there. It's just a matter of growth. The lack of growth is very evident. And those around him are growing every single day.
Agreed. Yeah, it's if you ain't growing, then why are we showing? I made that up on the spot, but yeah, it's like
I love
if you're not growing, you're not getting better. It's like, hey, why are we doing this? Is it money? Is there something else?
I mean, what do we say every single episode, brother? Keep on going, keep on growing.
That's right, baby.
You don't have one without the other. It doesn't work.
That's right.
If you keep on going and you're not growing, brother, you're just going to go.
Yeah, man.
And if you're growing, but you're not going, brother, like, fuck are you doing, brother? You're sitting still getting big? Yeah. You must be at the fucking Olive Garden eating breadsticks. What are you doing?
You can't be stagnant, all right? Listen to Terrence Howard. He'll let you know nothing's stagnant in this world. You gotta be moving.
I gotta listen to that
positive,
episode.
Negative energy. Oh my god, it's a lot. It's a lot. Maybe eat some gummies and get in the right headspace. But boy, oh boy, that guy's intriguing.
Intriguing indeed, man. So with that being said, Nano, gotta ask, what do you have next for Poatan, Alex Pereira?
Man, the obvious thing feels like it should be Magomed Ankalaev, but I don't. This is MMAnomaly Show, okay? We're unfiltered here. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. There's only one fight I want to see now, and if I don't ever see it, then the UFC did me a disservice, okay? And it's two of the baddest motherfuckers, two of the scariest people. As Dana White said, you go into a room, you close the lights, you turn off, you close the door. Till death, who's walking out of there? I think these are two guys I have to know the answer to. And this is Alex Pereira versus the GOAT, man, John Jones, baby. At heavyweight for a championship or a newly invigorated BMF belt. But for the big boys, that's my pick. I'll wait a year. I'll wait 2 years. I don't care. I know Alex wants to stay busy, and he probably will, have more side quests and continue to collect planets like a freaking. I was thinking of like Omni-Man or someone like
collect planets like Galactus,
like Voltramite out here, just fucking.
Eating planets like Galactus, collecting planets like a Viltrumite, collecting fucking Infinity Stones like he's Thanos,
bro.
Who happens to be my nephew's favorite villain right now.
There we go. It's a good one.
He wants me to buy my Thanos book. Yeah, you're right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and beats Magomed and then like Khalil Roundtree or someone. But John Jones
Just
and him
stealing my thunder all around. Mother.
You gave it to me, baby. I'm gonna run with it now. What you thinking?
Jesus. My. Okay, seriously. With all due respect, you. I did actually have written down fight Magomed Ankalaev, destroy his legs, and then go up and just fight John Jones. So again, I say again, with all due respect, you. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think he has to fight Magomed Ankalaev because, like, otherwise, then the paper champ conversation starts, and people are saying he's dodging bullets, etc. Things, this, that, and the other. But I take Chris, my fucking guy, my guy.
And honestly, though, like even with Magomed, it's like, did he barely beat Jan, and Alex beat Jan? So it's like if you use that MMA math. He technically didn't even beat him. I guess it was a draw, right? So, I mean,
I don't know if you remember. Do you recall in your mind of minds, in your heart of hearts, in your bank account of bank accounts, do you remember what Jan Blachowicz' leg kicks were doing to Magomed Ankalaev? It's okay if you don't.
I don't remember the fight. I just remember thinking, like, what the hell? That's the most like.
Please look it up after this.
Oh, they just welted up and demolished.
I mean.
But it didn't slow Magomed down. He still was coming after him. That's the thing.
The thing is, like, when you hit someone with a leg kick and like they are good at eating leg kicks, there's a poker face there. There's a lack of a flinch. Magomed was eating those leg kicks like he had never eaten a fucking Dijon salad in his life, brother. And he was like, "Oh, what was that? That's real dressed up." Brother, he was eating them like he was just fucking delighted in the worst way. That's spicy. I don't like it. So it just wasn't fucking good, bro. And with that being said, how would you compare Jan Blachowicz's leg kicks to Alex Pineda's? My brother.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. Both are pretty big, powerful, strong dudes, but Alex is, I mean, he's next level. I think to me, it's like he's proven that now. Like I don't care what you think. It's like I know Alex is the scariest striker on the planet. It's pretty much confirmed at this point in my head. And that's like, he's a kickboxer.
Terrifying.
He was the only guy in glory to be simultaneous light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. He's used to this world. He might be able the first to do it in the UFC too. That's how fucking special I think he is. Truly.
I mean, he's a special guy.
He's got a couple years left. He has to do it now. And so I think if he just decides, screw light heavyweight, I did my thing. I'm just going to go on up, fully commit, take a few months off, then get back in. A Cyril gone would be fucking fun. I mean, I guess throw him to Tommy Aspinall right away, but I think Tommy. I don't like that fight. I'm the first to tell you I don't like that fight at all. Tommy Aspinall versus Alex Pineda is the worst possible matchup. He'll. I don't want to say it out loud. I think he might pretzel him though, dude. Like I think it's just like styles make fights, right? Like there are guys that I will honestly tell you I'm stronger than, I'm better than, etc. But like if they're a grappler or jiu-jitsu guy, like Ian, for example, Ian is like 40 fucking pounds less than me. And I would tell you, I've probably got a better body kick than him, right? Like there are certain things that I'm like, I've definitely got better than him. But the guy has Brazilian jiu-jitsu. The guy has good wrestling. So I'm like, I don't really want to say like I could beat that guy. And there's just certain things that don't match up great. And I think that Tommy Aspinall versus this guy at this exact moment in his career, oh boy, it's tough. It's tough. Dude, I get it. I mean, styles, it's levels, and when you're that big and dominant, like it doesn't take much for Tommy Aspinall to find a way to get him out of there. And to be honest, I think he could knock out Alex too. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, Tommy has some power. He's used to find some big boys. Alex is big too. That's I mean, it's like it's kind of nullified in that sense when you're neither fighters are necessarily cutting weight anymore. I don't know if Tommy might have to cut weight. He's so big. But yeah, man, fun one. I opened up the door. I mean, Alex just solidified himself as an absolute legend. I feel bad for Yuri. I don't know what's next for him either. Again, I think maybe a top contender, but that's
I was seriously just about to say, can we play matchmaker again for the loser of the match? And just curious to hear, like, what would you like to ideally see next for Yuri Prokaska?
Yeah, not the move to middleweight. I think.
I don't think that's the move for him.
Probably. I mean, honestly, I think he beat Volkan already. But
could you imagine a weight drained Yuri Prokaska versus Brendan Allen? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm all in. I'm all in on Brendan Allen in that one, kids. It's a fact.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Yuri's too big, I think.
He's too big, he's too strong, and he's too goddamn pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, honestly, I think I think if Alex is gonna fight Magomed, then Yuri, maybe you fight Jamal just because he's the next champ, and that's maybe the winner gets a crack at Alex again, I guess. Not that fun for us, but it's like, unless Khalil comes out and does something, that's maybe the only other wild card. And that'd be a fun matchup, Khalil versus Yuri in terms of striking. But yeah, man, I think that's the move. And then yeah, Alex could do whatever he wants. He could retire, and I'd be just happy. But I think he'll probably have to fight Magomed pretty soon. He says he wants to get it back in there. And then if he does move to heavyweight, I would rather him wait a little bit and then either wait for John straight up, or just I don't know. Surreal Gone would be one I'd want to see, actually, to be honest, just personally.
I'm not mad at that. I'd rather see Alex Pineda knock out Magomed Ankalaev or beat Magomed Ankalaev if he does, and then fight John Jones at heavyweight. As far as Yuri Prokaska goes, I would really like to see him fight a Khalil Roundtree or a Volkan Ozdemir. I think both those are really fun matches for him, and yeah, I mean, I just feel like those are fun matches, man. We'll do one more for the road here and call it an episode.
Lego.
But again, with that being said, guys, we hope to see any and all of you that show up to International Fight Week next year. Please hit us up on the Twitter at MMAnomaly, at Jive Turkey Talk on Twitter. And I mean, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know you're going to be there. We'd love to find you, seek you out, and have a drink with you all, just like this. Cheers, folks.
Cheers. A good card.
A great card and an even better week.
Yep. Say thank you all for joining. Hope you all have a great 4th. Hope you all have a great weekend. Keep the vibes going. I think we're off this week for UFC, so maybe find some old matchups or do something new. Maybe get outside.
We are off this week for UFC, but before we go, I would, as Arrow Hawani likes to say, be remiss if I didn't ask you, who do you have real quick before you head out? And Habby, thank you so much, honey, for joining the stream. First time in the chat and first time viewer, we really appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. So again, we do have one fight this weekend that most folks are excited about if they know what's going on. Jorge Masvidal versus Nathan Diaz. Who you got in the boxing match?
Ooh, probably going Nate just by decision. I don't know how many rounds it is, but I think Nate's honestly Jorge's a better boxer. Nate, I mean, his best bet. I mean, we saw what happened when they fought last time. Granted, different in MMA, but if it's just boxing, I think Jorge is still a good enough of an athlete and has a good enough endurance and good enough boxing skills to go in there and outpoint a Nate Diaz, who tends to take shots. He'll kind of lazily stay in the pocket or just hope to kind of drown you out as the fight goes on. But I don't think Jorge's going to fade, especially in this kind of bout, in my opinion. So I'm getting Jorge in this one because I think he's going to be ready. I'm going against my 209 brethren. I typically wouldn't do this. Like you said, it's someone I met back in the day. But I just think in terms of betting, strictly betting purposes here, leaning Jorge. but I'll be rooting for my boy from the 209, Nate Diaz. What you think, brother?
I will also be rooting for the 209. I will also be, if I bet, betting on the not 209. Come on. I love Nathan Diaz, but I got to go Jorge Masvidal. I just think he's a better striker. He's a better boxer overall in the last 5 years. And that makes a vast difference in mixed martial arts, boxing, and martial arts, and just in general, right? Like what I've done in the last 5 years means a lot more than what I've done in the last 10. So that being said, give me Jorge Masvidal. As much as I don't like to say it, I'm a much bigger fan of Nathan Diaz. And gun to my head, who am I going for? Who am I cheering for? You already know, folks. 209 till I die. With that being said, whether you are new here, old here, somewhere in between, if you like mixed martial arts, if you like me, if you like Nano, if you like anything about what you're seeing right now, please do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And the last thing, as we like to say every single fucking show, please do us a favor. Keep on going. Keep on growing, folks. We hope to see you next time.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.